A very good evening to all the students of this live virtual revisionary class, which is applicable for September 2025 examination. And today is the first revisionary class for paper 3B Goods and Services Tax. And today's topic is charge of GST and supply under GST. So we will be starting with the basic concepts of GST, most important substantive provision of GST, that is the taxable event supply under GST and charge of GST. And what would be the framework of these revisionary classes, or what is the basic purpose why these revisionary classes have been conducted is all of you know that our live virtual classes for paper 3B have already been convened, and we expect our students to go through those classes, and all of you must have gone through those classes, detailed lectures on each and every topic. By now, you want to revise the concepts through the practical application. So we will be focusing in these classes on the topics or the on those topics which are significant from the examination point of view, and in those topics we'll be taking the questions, the practical questions, so that you can apply the concepts which you have learned so far. So for any revisionary class, I would suggest that you should go through the concept of that particular, the topics which would be taken in that particular class, and we will be attempting the questions for the that particular concept or chapter or topic. So today's topics are supply and charge of GST, and we will be taking questions, we'll be taking sequentially, so that we start with the concept of supply, then the all the three schedules, questions based on all the three schedules, mixed supply, composite supply, and then we'll go to the chapter of charge of GST. There also the significant concepts that how the which tax to be levied in which of the cases, type of transactions, and then what would be the different scenarios of the reverse charge mechanism, and then we'll come to the composition scheme. So through the questions, we'll be revising the entire concept of supply and charge. And I want all of you to be with me throughout the session, so that after the session, you will be much more confident and you will be much more aware about these topics. So I hope all of you have the basic idea of these topics, and we'll be practicing the questions. During the question also, if you have any doubts, or you might have forgot any topic or any concept, so you can put in the chat box, you can ask your query, keep asking your queries in the chat box also, so that I can know, and keep posting your answers also. So as I move to the questions, please post your answers, see the question and post your answers, so that we can take your doubts, as well as I can see that how much you have prepared for the forthcoming examination. So let us start with the concept of supply under GST. Okay, good evening, Soumya. Okay, we'll be taking the questions of supply under GST first of all. In fact, all of you know that supply is the taxable event under GST. Under every tax law has a taxable event also. That means the event on trigger of which the tax would be levied. For example, under income tax law, all of us know that income tax is the earning of income is the event which triggers the levy of the income tax. Now, whether it will be actually payable or not, it depends on lot many factors. Same is the case with the GST also. In GST, the taxable event is supply. So when supply takes place, then the GST becomes leviable. And then afterwards, so many factors are there. For example, what would be the place of supply? Based on that, its taxability is decided. Rate has to be seen. Then we have to see whether it does not attract any exemptions. Then it becomes not, the GST does not becomes payable on this, or it does not become liable to GST in that case, if any exemption is there, specific exemption is there. So lot many other factors also work to actually pay GST on a particular transaction, that is supply. So we'll be starting with the basic concept today. We'll be focusing on when a particular transaction can be called supply, what is the applicability of Schedule 1, Schedule 2, Schedule 3, everything we have to discuss in this class. So let us start with the first question, and I would want all of you to participate in this lecture. First question is, now you know that GST is levied on the supply of goods and or services. That means there are few parameters of GST supply. Supply should be either supply of goods or supply of services. So any transaction would fall under the purview of supply only if it is either in goods or in services. So that makes the definition of goods and services important for us. In the definition of goods and services, so you till the time you are going through this question, I am telling you the basic concept that in the definition of goods as well as services, two common exclusions are there. That is money and securities. They are excluded from the definition of security goods. So, first question which is there for you is which of the following is not considered as goods under the CGST Act 2017? And I want you to answer these questions. Okay, I have started getting some doubts from the students already. And just a minute. Okay, so I've already started getting answers from all of you, and let me come to each and every answer. Okay, Tanu is saying, just let me go through the question first and then I will take your answers. First is which of the following is not considered as goods under the CGST Act 2017? As I already told you that why goods and services definition is important, because only supply of goods or supply of services is what falls under the definition of supply under GST. So one of the parameters is that it should be, transaction should be either in goods or in services. So in goods, which of the following transactions is not, which of the following is not covered in the definition of goods? So let me see the answers now. Tanu, your answer is correct. In fact, I don't want to tell the answer first. I would just want to see how many of you have given the correct answer. Anubhav, you fall in the trap which we had created. That's why you answered. Okay, Ishan, I will take your query. Don't worry. This query I will be taking because right now I am on supply, but your query will be definitely taken. Julie, you're right. Tanu was right. Then Soumya, your answer is right. Sunil, what is your answer for this particular question? Okay, Mohammed, now your query has already been answered, and I'm waiting for others. Astha is also right. Then Harshada, you have to see the answer again. Ishant also has to see the answer again. And Dhruv is right. Vidhi, Vidushi, you were earlier right. Now you have actually marked the wrong answer. And Shifimol is right. Then Anubhav, again you have to think. Something is actually you have to go through the definition of goods again. Gurpreet, Gurmeet, you have to see your answer again. Mohammed Farhan, you're right. Lalisha, Lalisha also has to see. There is actually catch in this particular question. So Sinchana is right. Then Khushi, you are also right. Other students, Khushwaha, your answer is correct. Mansa's answer is also correct. Before I go to the correct answer, I want to see MA, your answer is also correct. So the correct answer here is the option 2, that is shares of unlisted company. That is the correct answer. Now, point is that why 1 and 3 are not correct? Because some of you, many of you have given option 1 as the correct answer. But I would say the students who have marked the right answer are more than the students who have marked the wrong answer. Most of you have given the correct answer, but some of you have given option 1 as correct answer. Because we feel, as I already told you, money and securities is excluded from the definition of the goods as well as from the service definition of services also. So we thought old 10 paisa coin, which has a sale value of 100 rupees though, but it is a coin, it is money, and therefore it will be excluded. But the definition of money specifically excludes any money which is held for its numismatic value. And if numismatic value means that it is no longer in circulation, that money, but because it is an old time coin, or we are keeping it only because now we want to keep it as a souvenir, we want to keep it as a memory. And old 10 paisa coin is no more in circulation now, and its sale value, that is why, is rupees 100 now. It has a higher value than actually is which it carries. That is not money. If we sell these 10 rupee coin to someone, we supply these 10 rupee coin to someone, then that will be supply under GST. Now, whether GST will be payable on same or not, that depends on many other factors. But today we will focus only whether a particular transaction will be supply or not. But whether GST will be leviable or not, that depends on many other factors. Okay. So first is not correct. Then I told you securities are outside the purview of GST. That is option 3. Option 2. Option 3, why is it not correct, is lottery is an actionable claim, and the definition of goods specifically includes the actionable claims. Therefore, lottery tickets is also goods. What is not goods is shares of unlisted company. Okay, so this is included and this is also included. I hope it gives you the idea. Now, Astha is telling me, yes, Astha, you were right. In galleries charging, Astha, you are coming to a later point, but let me answer you. In case the galleries are charging, okay, if they are charging for the exhibition, then that GST will be payable, because this is a service which galleries are giving to the artist, and that will be taxable. There is no exemption or no, it is a supply and tax will be payable on that. Let me see that Harshda. Okay, now Harshda, you are right. You got the correct answer. Ishant has also got the correct answer now. Pavan Kumar, okay, I thought you are answering. So I hope this question is clear to all of you. Now let's move to the next question. Oh, I showed you the next question. So this is the next question. Now in this question, you have to tell that whether the transaction is supply or not. And if it is a supply, then what would be the amount, or what will be the amount that can be taken, assuming that these are the transaction values, because I know that transaction value has to be separately computed. There is rules have to be applied, but I want to know the amount which you will take for the keeping for these transactions. So if it is supply, then I want the amount also. If it is a supply, because you have to see whether it is supply or not. Shekhar Enterprises gifted his employee, Mr. Sukhbir, computer worth rupees 40,000 in September and mobile phone worth rupees 20,000 in October in the current financial year. Now, what would be the, first of all, whether it is a supply, and if it is a supply, then which of the, either we'll be taking only computer, or we'll be taking only mobile phone, or the difference, that is incremental 10,000 amount would be taxable. What would be the how this transaction will be dealt? Okay, Soumya has given me the answers. Soumya, your answer is correct. And in fact, all of you have started giving the answers now. Julie, your answer is correct. Ishan, yes, you are right. And your reason is also correct. Yes, Tanu, you are also right. Kirti, you have to see, Kirti, when we'll discuss the question, again, Mohammed is also giving me the same reason. Archana is right. Archana, you are right. Gurmeet, you are right. Mohammed Farhan, you also have to see. See, what is the time limit? What is the limit of value? You all are actually going in the right direction, but you have not actually memorized the threshold limit after which it becomes a supply. Lalisha, you are partially correct. Sinjana is not right. Kushi, you're right. Then Shifimol, you are But you, Shifimul, you are also partially correct. So one part is correct, other part is not correct, and Mansa is right. Vidushi is also right. And then we have Rohit. Rohit, you have to see your answer. Bonito, you are also partially correct because it has two parts. This question has two parts, and I'm seeing that most of the students are clear with the first part, but second part they are not answering correct. And then Pooja is saying not okay. Pooja, you are also not right. Ishant, okay. You have a doubt about situation. Julie, okay. You all others are mentioning the reasons. Pavan, you have mentioned 2011. Why you have mentioned 2011 gift amount? So, okay. Harshada is also not right. See, what is the concept in this question? Let us see that. Mohammed Abdan, you are missing out on a concept. See, Shaker Enterprises has gifted to his employee. Now, you know that for any transaction to be supplied, we have discussed that there are few parameters which have to be complied with. Now, first was that the transaction should be transaction in goods as well as services. Second was that consideration should be there. And third was that it should be in course or furtherance of business. Now, in this case, we have said the Sukhbir Enterprises has gifted his employee computer and mobile phone. Now, when we say gifted, that means consideration was absent. It is goods. It is goods. That is fine. That the items which are the transaction is taking place in goods. That is true. That has been that test is passed. Consideration is not there. It is in course or furtherance of business that comes afterwards, but it is in course or furtherance of business because if I am gifting anything to my employee, I must be gifting because he is my employee, he is working in my organization. So it is in course or furtherance of business, but I'm not taking any consideration from him. So when consideration is not there, either the transaction we can conclude that it is not a supply, but for before that we need to go to Schedule 1 of the CGST Act. And Schedule 1 has four paragraphs. The second paragraph says that supply of goods or services between the related persons qualify as supply. An employer and employee are related persons. That has a proviso also, which provides that in case something is gifted by an employer to his employee, in that case, if gift amount is up to rupees 50,000, then it will not amount to supply. But if the goods gifted by employer to employee exceeds rupees 50,000, that becomes supply. Now, when I say exceeds rupees 50,000, first of all, we have to see that and that too in a financial year, in a complete financial year, if the gift amount is more than 50,000. Now, here the gift amount is 40,000 plus 20,000. That means 60,000 is the total gift amount. And we are taking that this will be the transaction value also. This will be the value of supply also. We are not going into the valuation because today is the first class and this valuation is also not at the intermediate level. It is not applicable. So 60,000 is the value of the goods or the goods which are being gifted by the employer to employee in a financial year. That means it exceeds 50,000. Moreover, since the proviso says that if the gift is up to rupees 50,000, then it is not a supply. So that means if it exceeds 50,000, then entire amount will become a supply. If it is up to 50, had it been 49,999, then entire amount would have become a non-supply. But since it is exceeding or it had been 50,000, till 50,000 it would not have been supply. But once it exceeds 50,000, entire amount will become a supply and therefore full 60,000 will become supply. So it is in course of furtherance of business, Mohammed. So I hope that becomes clear to you all. Those who had not given the correct answer in the first instance, I hope that is clear to you all now. Okay. Now let us see the next question. Mr. Subir has received watch worth rupees 20,000 from his employer. Again, an employer-employee question. Shekhar Enterprises in September. Thereafter, he changed the employment and joined Purva Impacts Limited, which gifted him mobile phone worth rupees 50,000 in October. And one gift was received in September, another gift was received in October in the same financial year. Determine whether the given transactions amount to supply, and if yes, determine the amount of supply. What would be the value? Amount means the value. What would be the value that will be taken? And I'm assuming this is the transaction value which is being there. So I'm expecting for answers, and let us see. Pooja was asking, in this case, what will be the time of supply? Okay. So, Pooja, once the transaction, you want to know that since the one transaction is taking place in 1 month and second transaction is taking place afterwards. So this is not the case. Once it's his value exceeds 50,000, at that time the previous one will also be taxed, because at that time it became supply. The event of the taxable event was triggered. Let me come for a second. I'm coming to the previous question. Taxable event was triggered in October. So the entire supply will become taxable in the month of October only. Now this is the next question. So I'm expecting answers from all of you. Ishan, okay, you are right. Harshada, no, Harshada, you are not right. Harshada, you are not right. Then we have Vidushi. Vidushi is also not right. This was a bit tricky question. So I think all of you got trapped in this particular question. And Khushi is also not right. Rohit, Rohit is right. And Julie, again, not correct. Lalisha, you're right. Mohammed Farhan, you're right. And Shifimol, no, you are not right. Gurmeet, again, wrong. So last question had a big impression on everybody. And you are following the concept from last question only, though you should follow, but it has something different which you are not able to actually, track. Archana is also not right. Archana, actually, you are seeing it from other perspective. You are seeing it from the employee's perspective. I'm just giving you all a hint. It should be seen from the employer's perspective. Mansa, not right. Sinchana, you're right. And you got the point also correct. Tanu, no, you're not right. And Soumya, again, not correct. So this question, I think very few of you have answered it correctly. Ishan, now you are right. And Anubhav, no, Anubhav, this is not the case. Again, Dhruv is also not right. Soumya, Soumya, you're right. You got the point correct. Some of you have got the point. Sunil is also right. Nidhi, actually, Nidhi, you have not answered. And then I have Priyanshi. No, Priyanshi, you're not right. Almas, you're right. So those students who were earlier there also, I think they have been able to find it out, because these things we have discussed in the live virtual classes also. Khushi, you are right. You have got the right point. Yes, Julie. Julie, you are right. And Vidushi, you are also now right. So let us come to the concept now. You all are giving reasons. See, the provision says that the amount of gift given by the employer to employee should be up to rupees 50,000, then it will not be a supply. Here in this case, there are two suppliers, because who is giving the gift? Supplier will be Shekhar Enterprises as well as Purva Impacts Limited. So there are two different employers. That means two different suppliers are there. And limit of 50,000 will apply to each one of them. Had it been the same employer, then it would have definitely been a supply. An entire amount of 70,000 would have been amounted to supply. But here two different employers are there. So in each of the case, here also the amount has not exceeded 50,000. So it is not a supply. And in this case also the amount is up to rupees 50,000. It is not a supply. So both of both the gifts which he has received, Sukhbir has received, will not amount to supply. We have to see from the employer's perspective and not from the employee's perspective. Each employer is a supplier, and limit of 50,000 applies to each employer or each supplier separately. So all of you, many of you or most of you analyze this question from the perspective of the employee. You should have seen it from the perspective of the employer. So I hope you got this point now. Okay, Mohammed, you were also not right in this question. But anyhow, now all of you would be knowing this. Tanu, you have got it right, and Mansa has, yes, Mansa, you are right. You have to see it from the employer's point of view and not from the employee's point of view. Let us come to the next question. Hmm. Shekhar Enterprises has gifted computers worth rupees 60,000 to his employee. It had not taken ITC on the said computers. So you have to go through all the paras of Schedule 1, determine whether given transaction amounts to supply or not. Let us see how many of you are answering this question. So Anubhav is saying, okay, Anubhav. Anubhav, I hope you are answering for the correct for the current question only. Shekhar Enterprises has gifted computers worth rupees 60,000. It had not taken ITC on said computers. So Anubhav, you are not right. Ishan, not right. Again, same point. It has some catch in this. This question has a catch. It is, you have to see the question carefully. Vidushi, it's not correct. Then we have Sunil. Sunil also not answering correctly. Archana. Then Lalisha. Lalisha, you are right. You are right in this question. So you have got it correct. Miss Pooja is also not correct. Pavan Kumar is writing the value, but not correct. Farhan, Mohammed Farhan, you are also not correct. Then Bonito. Yes, Bonito, you also got the correct point. You are right in this particular question. Soumya, you are right. Astha, no, you're not right. Khushi, yes, Khushwaha Prem Kumar, you are right. Your answer is correct. Somesh Singh is also correct. Shifimul is correct. Shifimul, sorry for the wrong pronunciation of your name. Miss Soumya, again, Soumya, you're not answering it correctly. Priyanshi is also not right. Khushi, yes, Khushi, you have actually got the correct point. Almas is right. No, Nidhi, you are not right. Actually, there is a catch in this particular question. Let me explain you the point. Most of you, actually, the point which we have mentioned here to confuse you was this particular sentence. It had not taken ITC on the said computers. And I gave you a point to, I told you that you have to read this question carefully. This point actually confused you because you thought you straight away went to, when you saw the ITC point, you straight away went to para 1 and you said ki it is not falling in para 1 because the ITC has not been taken on the same. Okay. But point here is that para 1 says permanent or transfer of assets of or business assets in case provided the ITC has been taken on the same. Okay. In this case, ITC has not been taken. So it is not falling in para 1. But in para 2, it is falling because it has gifted the computers to its employee, to his employee. Shekhar Enterprises has given the computers to its employee worth rupees 60,000. So in para 2, employer and employee are related. They are the related persons. So if it is not falling in para 1, but it is falling in para 2, na? So it is not so that it should definitely, since we have given this ITC point, that actually takes it out of para 1, but it still can fall in para 2. That is not a, there is no bar that if ITC we have not taken, we cannot term it as supply. We can go to para 2 if they are related persons and they have the one person has gifted, employer has gifted to employee gift more than rupees 50,000, then that will amount to supply. So this is supply and amount is 60,000. So I hope now this point is clear to you all that it will be termed as supply. ITC has not been taken does not make any difference to our answer. Yes, Mantha, you also uh, took it wrongly that all of you who are saying that it is not a supply, definitely you are applying para 1. And I agree with all of you that para 1 will not be applicable. But why can't we apply para 2? In para 2, it is it's a case of related person. Employer-employee relationship is there. Employer is gifting to his employee gift more than rupees 50,000. So it becomes a supply. This particular sentence does not make any difference to our answer. Okay. So I hope this now becomes clear to you. This point becomes clear to you all. Okay. Pavan, you were right. Supply. And again, Sunil, you had taken it to be supply. It is supply because ITC was not taken on computer. But Sunil, it is supply, but it is not supply because of ITC point. It is supply because it is falling in para 2 of schedule 1. Yes, Vidushi, you were right. And Kirti is right. In fact, many of you have answered it correctly also now. I can see those answers I could not see earlier. Anil Golti, you were right. Okay, because S. Ranjini, you are also saying it will be considered as supply because ITC cannot be claimed, but that is not the reason. It is supply because it is falling in para 2. ITC is a condition in para 1, and that had to be fulfilled if we are doing the transfer of assets, business assets. Okay, let us move to the next question now. Sulekha manufacturers has a factory in Delhi and a depot in Mumbai. Both these establishments are registered in respective states. Finished goods are sent from factory in Delhi to Mumbai depot without consideration. Now, again, a case where consideration is not there. So, this I can guide you that all the questions where consideration is not there, we have to first check schedule 1 so that the same can be sold from the depot. Now, you have to examine whether said activity would amount to supply under section 7 read with schedule 1. Schedule 1, we have already given you a hint. So now onwards, who are answering this question, because some of your answers I might not have seen. So please write Sulekha also in your answer so that I can know that I'm not referring to your earlier answer. Sunil, okay, you got the point, Sunil, now. Okay, so Nidhi, I think you want to say that now it's clear to you. Priyanshi, uh, no, Priyanshi, in the previous question, both the options are not correct because as per para 1, it was not a supply. But that does not mean that you can answer it is supply and it's not a supply. You can answer your question based on both the paras. That is not the case. What we actually do is we see a particular transaction and we have to check whether it falls in para 1 or any of the paras. So if it is falling in para 1, 2, 3 or 4, in any of the paras, if that particular transaction is falling, that particular activity is falling, which is being undertaken without consideration, that becomes a supply. In our case, let me take you just for a second, I'm moving to previous question. In our case, para 1 was not applicable because ITC was not taken, but para 2 was applicable. So that becomes a supply. So in this case, the final or correct answer would be that it is a supply, but not under para 1 as per para 2. So we cannot take both the answers. Okay. Now, I'm waiting for the answer to this particular question. Let us see. Many of you have answered. Gurmeet, okay, you are right. I think this question will be answered correctly by most of you because earlier every question had a trick, but this is a simple application. So, yes, Tanu, you are right. Vidushi, right. Soumya, okay, Soumya, you got this point now? Sure, good. Then Pavan Kumar. Pavan, you have mentioned answer, but I didn't get why you have mentioned this answer. I want to know whether it is supply or not. Okay. Anil Golti, yes, you're right. Then Shifi Mol, yes, you're right. Absolutely right. Mansa, it's a Once a distinct person transaction, then why your conclusion is different? Yes, Sunil is right. Then Priyanshi, yes, Priyanshi, now you got that point. Yes, other para says that it is not a supply, then you have to take it as supply. It does not mean that there are two different conclusions. No, we have to check if in any of the paras that transaction is falling, that becomes supply. So in para 1 it is not falling, doesn't matter. Para 2 it is falling, then it becomes a supply. That is the case. So Julie, you are right. Khushi, yes, right. Astha, yes, absolutely correct. Soumya, right. Bonito, yes. Reason is also right. Mohammed Farhan, with reasoning, you're right. Miss Pooja, yes, you're right. Archana, correct, Archana. But okay, it's a supply, and you have mentioned the section also. Ishan has mentioned the paragraph also. You're right, Ishan. No, I saw. I think I've seen Ishant Jain. You are not right. Ishan, why you have mentioned this answer? Can you give me the reason? Dhruv is right. Then Sinchana is right, and Harshda, right. Apurva, we are getting some answers in other portal also. Let me see. And Apurva is right. Kushwaha is also right. And Krishna is registered when they are. Yes, you are right. Okay, okay. So Soumya is, yes, you have given the reason also, Soumya. You are right. And here also we have Aksa Banu Mansuri. Your answer is correct. And I think Sahib, you have answered, you were giving answers earlier also. Now I will be seeing your answers also. So this answer is correct by given correctly by most of these students. Since there are two distinct persons, two different registrations are there. One is in Delhi and another one is in Mumbai. It has been already mentioned since separate states are there. Had it not been mentioned, the person is registered, then definitely he would have obtained different registration in the two states. And therefore, the transaction between them, the transfer of goods between the Delhi factory, from Delhi factory to Mumbai depot, will become supply as per para 2 because these are the distinct persons. So any supply of goods between the distinct persons qualify as supply with even if it is undertaken without consideration under para 1 of schedule 1. Okay. So I hope this question was quite easy and all of you have done. Okay. Pavan Kumar was saying processing means processing. You were processing the answer. Kirti was right in this question. And Astha, yes, Astha. In case of establishment of distinct person, it means two establishment must be in different state whether registered or not. One thing is this, Astha, that when establishment of distinct persons or distinct persons. So in which of the cases here you will say that it is a supply? Either both Mumbai and both Delhi and Mumbai were registered, then it is a supply. Had it been the case, the Mumbai office is Mumbai depot is unregistered, then also they will be considered as establishment of distinct persons because they are in different states and one person has a registered GSTN number. This person does not have a GSTN, but it is in a different state. So these two become the distinct persons, establishment of distinct persons, and therefore any transaction between them will amount to supply under para 2 of schedule 1. Now another case, if in had it been both the offices were in Delhi, so two places of business were and both of them were in Delhi, and only one registration has been taken in Delhi. Okay, now I'm taking a different case which is not there in this particular question. Both the offices or both the factories were in Delhi, and they had obtained only one registration in Delhi for both the places of business, and any transfer of goods was there from one office or one factory in Delhi to another factory in Delhi, then that will not amount to supply because they are not distinct persons. They should have different GSTN numbers, or one person is registered, other person is not registered, but that should be in different states. That should be there because if in one state it is there, then that both the places of business itself will become registered. In Delhi, if we have 3 4 places of business and we have obtained one registration, all of them will become registered under that particular GSTN. And since same registration number is there, then that will not amount to supply. Had it obtained different registration numbers in Delhi also, within Delhi, 2 places of business were there and 2 different registrations were there. then in that case, that will become supply. So I hope that this point becomes clear to all of you. In case you have doubt, you can mention. I will explain it again. Yes. So Parampreet Kaur was right. And yes, it's a deemed supply. So Schedule 1 supplies are generally referred as deemed supply. Nirubain was also right in this question. Let us move to the next question quickly because we want to cover many questions today. Gautam, an artist, appoints Gambhir, auctioneer, to auction his painting. Okay. Gambhir arranges for the auction and identifies potential bidders. The highest bid is accepted and the painting is sold to the highest bidder. The invoice for supply. Now, before we move further in this question, let me tell you the auctioneer is included in the definition of agent. Okay, just I'm giving you a hint because otherwise this question might become difficult for you. Uh, if it comes in exam, you should know this, but for today, I'm giving you this much hint. Invoice for supply of painting is issued by Gambhir on behalf of Gautam, but in his own name. And painting is delivered to the successful bidder. Now determine whether the supply made by Gautam to Gambhir without consideration qualifies as supply. Okay. Now Gautam must have given the paintings to the paint to the Gautam must have given the paintings to Gambhir so that it can be auctioned and it can be given to the successful bidder. Whether that particular transaction, supply of goods by Gautam to Gambhir without consideration, is it a supply or not? I think I have given you enough hint for this particular question. Let us see. So already some of the answers are there. Dhruv, yes, Dhruv. And reasoning is also correct. So that means you know that provision correctly. In Asa is asking something. In case different registration in the same state, it will be called distinct person and not yes. It will be called distinct persons and it will become a supply if any transfer is there between these two establishments or these two places of business. I would not say establishment. They will be distinct persons and any transaction between them will be a supply. Yes. Krishna, right. And then Soumya, yes, you are right. So that this concept, agent concept, I think all of you know. Yes, Priyanshi, you have given the right reasoning. Sunil, yes, correct reasoning. Absolutely correct reasoning. And Archana, absolutely right. So I'm happy that all of you know this agent principle concept very well and how when an agent, I hope you have got that point because many of you are you are mentioning the reason also. Ishan is right. Then Mansa is right. I think in this question, everybody has answered correctly. Miss Pooja, Shifmula, Shifimol, this actually reason which you have mentioned is not correct. Vidushi and Tanu are right. Gurmeet, you're right. Then Julie, no, Julie, you have actually considered it otherwise. Actually, you have understood the provision in a reverse manner. Somesh is right, then Lalisha is right. And I will tell you the reason also. So if any of you has not appreciated the correct reason because final conclusion is correct in most of the cases. Just if any of you is Pavan, Nirubain, Soumya are right. Okay, and one more is left now. Who is that person? Vidushi. Okay. I will tell you if what happens if invoice is in Gautam's name. That also I will tell. In case of, so here it is very clear, all of you have written that it is para 3 of schedule 1, which says supply of goods, not services. Mark my words, only goods is there. Supply of goods by principal to an agent or otherwise. Goods have been procured by agent on behalf of principal, either way. So if the goods are being supplied by agent to principal because he has procured the goods for on behalf of the agent or on behalf of the principal, sorry, if agent has procured goods on behalf of the principal, he has procured those goods from the supplier and he is supplying it to the principal. In our case, what is the case is that principal has supplied goods to agent. Agent will further auction them and supply it to auctioneer. So principal has supplied those goods. Gautam is principal, Gambhir is agent. So principal has supplied those goods to agent free of cost. Agent has further supplied them to the customer. and he took the consideration. But what is important here is that he has issued the invoice in his own name. Okay. He has used his own GST and his own name. He has issued us invoice. He has issued on behalf of principal only. He has supplied the goods, but he has issued the invoice in his own name. He becomes an agent as per para 3. Had this invoice been issued in the name of the Gautam, uh, that means the principal. If agent is issuing invoice in the name of the principal, then this will not fall, he will not become an agent as per para 3, and this principal agent relationship will not be considered as supply. That means this relationship will not fall in para 3. He will not be an agent as per para 3, and therefore para 3 will not be attracted. And supply made by Gautam to Gambhir will not be a supply, but only when the invoice has been issued in the name of Gautam or in the name of the principal, then it will not become a supply. In that case, Gambhir will not be an agent as per para 3 of schedule 1. Why? Because he has to issue an invoice in the name of in his own name. Agent has to issue invoice in his own name. In fact, Mansoori Aksbano has also answered the question correctly, and he has given the correct reason that invoice is issued in the name of the agent. Then what will happen? In that case, there will be only one. Here there are two transactions. One is by Gautam to Gambhir and by Gambhir to the person who has to the successful bidder. So there are two transactions here, and both of them will be taxed separately. Had the invoice been issued in the name of Gautam, then there will be only one transaction from Gautam to the potential bidder, and there will be no tax or no supply by Gautam to Gambhir. Supply of goods by Gautam to Gambhir will not qualify as supply under GST. There will be only one supply by Gautam to potential bidder. So I hope you got this point. Vidushi, now you are clear that if invoice is issued in the name of Gautam, there will be only one transaction by Gautam to potential bidder. Gambhir will only be an agent and he will get his commission, and that will be taxed. But this supply by Gautam to Gambhir will not be a supply as per schedule 1. Okay. Yes, Shifimul, you are right. You have understood the concept correctly. So if an invoice is made by agent name, there is deemed supply. Yes. Agent in his own name. So agent has to make the supply in his own name. Anil Golti, yes, treated as supply as there is it is clearly an agent as per para 3, but he becomes an agent only when he issues invoice in his own name. If the invoice is issued in the name of the principal, then he will not be an agent and there will be only one transaction by the principal to the final buyer. Agent will not be in the picture. Agent will only get his commission and that will become a supply. So I hope this point is clear to you all. Now let's move to the next question. Next question is the question of del creditor agent. Many students find it very tricky, or they don't find the del creditor agent provisions to be, they are not comfortable with del creditor agent questions. But that is why I have put this question here, because I want all of you to be comfortable in this particular concept also. Mr. Handsome, del creditor agent of Charm Limited. I will wait for, first of all, I will see how many of you answered it correctly. Then I will explain you the entire concept of del creditor agent. So Mr. Handsome is a del creditor agent of Charm Limited and he agrees to issue invoices in his own name. तो ये problem तो आपकी solve हो गई जो अभी हमने पिछले question में देखी थी, that whether the invoice is being issued in his own name or not, that has been provided here. And also guarantees for the realization of payments from the customers to Charm Limited. Now that is why he becomes a del creditor agent. That means he has promised payment to the Charm Limited, that whatever payment is being, if any of the customers does not make a payment, I will make the payment. That is what the del creditor agent is, that he guarantees the principal to make the payment on behalf of the final buyers if they do not make the payment. Now, how he does it? He gives some credit or some loan to the customers or final buyers, and short-term loan is given to them, and he makes the payment on behalf of them to the principal. Afterwards, he charges some interest also from the customers, and he takes the principal plus interest amount from the customers. So in order to realize the payments from the customers on time, he extends short-term transaction-based loans to them and charges interest for the same. For the month of March, sale of goods by Mr. Henson, the agent, del creditor agent, in his del creditor agent capacity is 2,80,000. And interest earned for the short-term credit facility provided for the timely payment. Now he has also given short-term loan on which interest earned is rupees 20,000. Further, Commission charged from Charm Limited in respect of DCA services provided is rupees 30,000. So he must have got commission also. In previous question, we have not taken into consideration the commission which is charged by agent from his principal. In this del creditor agent question, we have taken the commission also. Determine the value of supply of goods to customers. वैल्यू ऑफ सप्लाई ऑफ दी एजेंसी सर्विसेज की क्या वैल्यू होगी और जो गुड्स उसने कस्टमर्स को सप्लाई किए हैं उनकी क्या वैल्यू होगी, दोनों चीजें आपको इस क्वेश्चन में निकालने हैं. आई हैव ऑलरेडी स्टार्टेड गेटिंग द आंसर्स फॉर दिस. Once I see all your answers, I will tell you the del grade rigid concept briefly. But we'll cover it completely. Briefly and quickly we'll take the concept but I will tell you the concept of del grade agent and its application under para 2, para 3. Okay, Vidushi, you got the earlier question? No? Okay. Vidushi, answer is partially correct. So supply to agency services amount is correct. Soumya is right. Soumya, both your answers are correct. Tanu. Okay, Tanu is asking if it, yes, Tanu, this is one of the things which I'm going to discuss maybe at the end of the session is how you're going to write the answers. You should see the suggested answers also. In suggested answers, whatever questions we have given, we generally explain how you can answer it in the exam. It depends on the marks which a question carries. Based on that, you have to mention the provision briefly, and then you have to first of all you will write the legal provision. Briefly, you will write the legal provision, and then you will correlate it with the facts given in the question, and finally come to a conclusion. For example, in this question, if you have to write, you will write the I will first of all discuss the provision, then I will tell you how you can answer that question. Your answer is partially correct, Tanu. So commission, agency service commission taxability is correct. The other question is not correct. Gurmeet, answer is not correct. Lalisha, partially correct answer. Agency commission, everybody is giving the correct answer because there not much of the complexity is there. Miss Pooja is right in both the answers. Then Ishan, yes, both the answers are correct. Shifi Mole, both the answers are correct. Very good. So many of you are giving both answers as correct. Astha, one answer is correct, that is agency. Okay, both your answers are correct. Now I got your point. So DCA to buyer is also correct. Dhruv is correct. Harshda, right. Now all of you are giving right answers. Mohammed Farhan, partially correct. Again, agency commission you have given correctly. And same is for Bonito, partially correct. Khushi, partially correct. Nidhi is not correct. And then Ranjani, correct. Your answer is right. Almas, partially correct. Again, agency commission is right, but other answer is not correct. And Sinjana, you have given half of the answer, but for agency commission, that is correct. Archana is correct. Soumya, okay, agency commission you have given, that is right. Parmeet Kaur is right. Then Tanu, yes. No, Parmeet, you, Tanu, you have, I will tell you the concept, then you will understand. Vidushi is right. And then Kirti is principal to DCA with his name is supply. Yes, Kirti, you are right that it is a supply transaction. Now you have to determine the value also. So, because in all these questions, what we have assumed is that whatever value is given, that is as per the provisions it has been computed. And Priyanshi, no, you are not right. Sinjana Shetty, yes. Now you have given the complete answer. So let us come to the question now. Del creditor agent, as I told you, he has this agreement with the principal that he guarantees the payment on behalf of his customers. So he charges some interest also from the customers. And now in fact, there are 3 transactions. And I will take you to a, to a pictorial representation of this particular circular because I want all of you to know this circular or understand this circular in detail. Yes. So in del creditor agent, there are 2 cases. One is the del creditor agent is not an agent as per para 3, which is not the case in our question. But for your understanding, I'm just quickly going through this point. Supply of goods from supplier to recipient. In case of del credit agent, there will be three transactions. One transaction is goods are being supplied from supplier to recipient. That I already told you in the previous question also, that in case the agent is not an agent as per para 3, he is not issuing invoice in his own name, then there will not be two transactions. Then this is not this, that one supply is by supplier to agent and agent to recipient. No, these two transactions are not there. There is only one transaction. There is only one supply. This particular transaction is not a supply. Only this is supply, and this supply does not come from the agent. In that case, it comes from the principal. So only one supply is there, that is the supply of goods from supplier principal to recipient. One transaction is this. Second is the agency transaction, which will always be there in case of an agent. Agent will take his agency commission, and he's providing agency services to the supplier. So this is also there. Third transaction is extension of loan services, because DCA is definitely providing loan to the recipient. That is why he is a del creditor agent. He is providing short-term credit facility to some of the customers, but this service would also be provided in most of the cases. Okay. So what will be the taxability? Now this particular supply of goods from principal to recipient is supply. Extension of loan services, this is a supply, though it becomes exempt afterwards. That is a different thing. Under exemptions chapter, you will see that extension the any loan which is given in lieu of interest is exempt. It is not GST is not payable on that. So it is subsequently exempt, but for the timing it is a supply. That you should know. Then agent services provided by DCA to principal, that is also a supply, because it's a normal supply transaction. Agent is providing him the agency services, principal is giving him the commission. So it becomes taxable. It becomes supply. This is the case where he is not an agent as per para 3. Now, if del creditor agent is an agent as per para 3 of schedule 1, which is the case in our question also. Okay. See, in that case, one transaction will be between the principal to agent. This transaction will become deemed supply as per para 3. And one transaction will be between agent to buyer, that is supply of goods. These are the two different transactions because he is an agent as per para 3. One more transaction which will be there between the agent and final recipient will be the extension of loan services. And since he is an agent, this is a separate transaction, because in the previous case, the supply was being made by the principal to the recipient. Agent was not, this was not a supply by the agent, this was the supply by the principal. That is why this particular transaction was being taxed separately, and it became exempt by virtue of the exemptions. That is a different thing. Here, these two transactions, this is a separate transaction by agent to recipient, that is supply of goods, and loan services is also a service which is being provided. So these two will become composite supply. One is supply of goods, one is supply of service of loan. So this is a composite supply where the principal supply is supply of goods. And this will also become taxable, and that exemption will not be attracted here because this will go with this. So entire value of goods as well as the loan which has been given, the interest which has been received by extension of loan, that so value of supply will include goods value plus interest, that will become the value in this particular case by DCA to recipient. So in our question we will see 2,80,000 is the value of goods and 20,000 is the interest. That makes it 3 lakhs. 3 lakhs will be value of supply made by agent, del creditor agent to buyer. For his agency commission, it will be simply taxed. Whatever amount he has received, that will become taxable. Okay. So this is the 30,000 rupees will be the agency commission. The value of supply of agency services will be 30,000. Entire amount will become taxed. Okay. So I hope this question is now clear to you all. Let me see if any doubt is there. Anil Gulti. Okay. No, Anil, value of supply will not exceed 2,80,000. No, it will, by virtue of this circular, it's actually a circular which is there. So 2,80,000 plus 20,000, because this value of this loan is also being provided. Service of extension of loan is also being provided by DCA to recipient. This will also be included in this, or this will be clubbed in the value of goods, and it will become a composite supply, taxable at the rate of the goods only, because the principal supply is supply of goods. Supply of service of extension of loan is a ancillary service, and that is why it becomes taxed along with the main supply of goods. Okay. So this is our question. I hope this doubt is clear to you all, and this circular has also become clear. Sunil, now it is clear to you. Yes, I think you have given the correct answer earlier itself without knowing this. You were aware of the provision. And one more point is there, Soumya. Okay. Now, had this question been asked in the exam, so in that case, you should have first of all answered that this is the, you should have first of all explained the provision of para 3 of schedule 1, that he is a, first of all, del creditor agent is an agent as per para 3 of schedule 1, because he is issuing invoice in his own name. This should have been the first point which you have to explain, because you first of all have to give the legal provision that an agent who issues invoice in his own name only qualifies as an agent under para 3 of schedule 1, and in this case Mr. Handsome is issuing an invoice in his own name, so he is an agent as per para 3. Then we have to refer to the circular. And I always recommend these students that you should focus more on the provisions rather than getting lost in the circular numbers, notification numbers, section rules. At the intermediate level, we generally expect the students to be aware of the provisions. So focus more on the provisions. See that you are enumerating or you are writing the correct provision instead of writing the more focusing more on remembering the or memorizing the section number, notification number, circulars. You should focus more on the provision. So here also, this is the point that you should mention the provision. So this is first point that you have mentioned. It is an agent under schedule 1. Then comes the point that del creditor agent has given the sorry, we sold the goods worth rupees 2,80,000 to the final customer plus the credit facility. That becomes a composite supply by virtue of the circular. So you can simply mention that a circular clarifies that the in case of the del creditor agent, the supply will include the supply of goods as well as the extension of loan services, because it becomes a composite supply wherein the principal supply is supply of goods, and that is why the value of supply becomes 2,80,000 plus 20,000 equal to 3 lakhs. Next is the commission, which is received by the Charm, which is given by the Charm Limited to Mr. Handsome. That is a agency service provided by the agent to the principal, and this is a supply in normal terms, because this is not a supply without consideration. It is a simple supply with consideration. Money is being given, 30,000 rupees is being given. So this is the supply with consideration. In fact, this is also not a deemed supply, but because of del creditor agent, this 20,000 points becomes important. So I hope this question is now clear to all of you. Let me check. Nidhi, once I upload these notes, I will give you the correct answer also. Today, I don't want to give the answer because you will be, more uh, diverted towards seeing how to write the answers. That I am going to tell you, but I will take all the questions, and when I upload the notes, I will tell you the answer also. Don't worry. Astha, both the cases there are. Yes, in both the cases, there are three supplies, but how these supplies have been integrated, that we have to see. Here, there are three supplies, but from different persons. Here, one supply is between principal to agent, then from agent to final customer. There are actually two supplies which have been integrated or clubbed into one, and this is the third one. So actually, it becomes a combination of two services. If you say in a way, here there are four services or four supplies, sorry, and here there are three supplies. But since in the second case, the two supplies have been integrated or clubbed into one, because there is a concept of composite supply which has been invoked in this case. That is why ultimately there becomes three supplies only. So you were right, Astha, in that case. Let us come to the next question. And let us take a small break for 5 minutes before we move to the next question. So please put the break. Technical team, please put the break. I think our technical team is not available right now. Please put the break for 5 minutes. We'll be back within 5 minutes only. So please be there with me. Okay. Okay. Welcome back after the break. And let us continue with supply chapter only. And quickly, we are starting with the next concept because we have to cover lot. I mean, cite it as a ma'am. How can gold Anil Golti Singh? How can you decide it is a you want to ask composite supply? First of all, Anil, this has been clarified by circular that it is a composite supply. Composite supply means if the supplies are in the nature of they are naturally bundled in the ordinary course of business. So it is generally a business practice that a del trader agent supplies goods to the recipient and gives loan services. So that is why these two supplies are natural, they are ordinarily provided together in the ordinary course of business and they are considered as composite supply. Circular has also clarified the same thing and that is why these two are composite supply. Their value will also be taken together in that case. Hope that clears your point. Let us see the next question. Now, quickly, I want the answers to these questions very quickly. Determine whether below mentioned transactions amount to supply or not. So, I will be taking these questions a bit, quickly because if I read all your answers, that takes time. I will try to take the first few answers and then we'll go to the concept so that we can cover more questions. Mr. Popat has imported architect services free of cost. Now, why this? This is actually in continuation. 4 5 questions will take. Different situations are there in each of the transactions, but they are related to same provision. So here on there, some difference will be there, and then you will be seeing the question, the point. Mr. Popat has imported architect services free of cost from his brother, a well-settled architect in Germany, for his house. So whether it is a supply or not. Let us see. Um, yes, Krishna, your answer is correct and reasoning is correct, but one point is missing. Let us see if you are able to catch it in the next question. Because I will not give reason for this question. I will take first next question and then I will give the reason. Shifomol, you are right. Because one point everyone of you will be able to find out. Yes, not. Ashna, your answer, final conclusion, I think is not correct, though you have mentioned the reason correct. Mohammed Farhan, no, not a correct answer. Sunil, oh, yes, correct answer. Reasoning is also correct, but I think one point, let's see if you are able to appreciate that point. It's not. Yes, Harshada is also right. And Lalisha, right. Gurmeet, yes, Gurmeet, you have got the correct point in your answer, but I will not tell it this. So this question, in this question, this is not a supply. Reasoning we'll take in after once we take part two also in this questions. Okay. So Mr. Popat has imported architect services free of cost from his brother for his house, and this is not a supply. Let us take next question. Mr. Popat has imported architect services free of cost from his brother, a well-settled architect, for his office. After this, I will take the reason also, that why in earlier question it was not a supply. Oh, I've got so many answers. Dhruv. Oh, Dhruv, I think you had given answer for the previous question. Parampreet. Yes, Parampreet, you have got the correct answer with correct reasoning. Tanu is giving answer for the earlier question. That your answer was right, Tanu, for the earlier question. And Ishan, you have also got the correct reason, because that is what I want all of you to appreciate. Okay, Soumya answer was correct for the previous question. Okay, if it is the course of business, Priyanshi, you're right. Reasoning has to be seen, because here all of you in both these questions, in fact, in first question, all of you have given the correct answer, but reasoning, many of you are missing. Okay, Julie is giving the, not you, Julie, your answer is not correct. Out consideration, no. Apurva, answer is not correct. Kirti, yes. Kirti, you have got the correct point. You have actually, hit at the correct point. So in this case also, it is not a supply. Now it will tell you I will tell you the reason. See, in the previous question, most of you have answered that it is not a supply. First of all, which para is being attracted here? It is para 4 of schedule 1. The import of services from a person located outside India or an establishment outside India in course or furtherance of business, by a person in course or furtherance of business from his related person which is located outside India. Now, related person has, in the definition of related person, one of the clauses is that the if members of same family are there, they are considered as related persons. That is what is being applied here, because Popat and his brother are members of same family. When we see the definition of family says that only spouse, and this is a very important point which most of the students make mistake in. Only spouse and children are your family without any dependency clause. So if these two category of related persons are there, or these two persons are there, they are your family, whether they are dependent on the person or they are not dependent on that person. But others, your brother, your sister, or your parents, in fact, if they will be considered as your family only if they are wholly dependent on you. So please remember this point. If your brother, sister, parents, grandparents, if they are wholly dependent on you, then only they will become your family. And once they become your family, then only they will be considered as your related person. So here two points were there. One was related person and one was the in course or furtherance of business. So he is not using it for his in course or furtherance of business, because of which it is not a supply. So most of you were able to find it out or identify this point that yes, he's not using it for his business purpose. Therefore, it is not a supply. That was fine. But one another point was that his brother is well settled architect. So he is not dependent on Mr. Popat, and that is why he is not his family. He is not his related person. And that both the conditions are not satisfied. In second question, if we see in second subpart, hmm, he's using it for his business purpose because he is using his architect services for his office. But again, his brother is well settled in architect in Germany, so he is not a related person. He's not his family, and that is why he is not a related person. And this transaction does not becomes a supply. So I hope now this point is clear to all of you, because many of you are missing this point only. Yes, Khushi. Now I think Khushi, you would have got this point and many others, because I'm not taking everybody's name, because Soumya also has got this point. Like Soumya also, I think you also have seen it from this perspective only, that it is not in course or furtherance of business, first one, and second one was in course or furtherance of business, so it becomes a supply. That is why you have answered this way. But now I hope all of you are clear with this point. So if any of you can mention not supply, because yes, and Anil, you were also mentioning it as supply, but you know, now I hope you know that it is not a supply. Many different reasons I'm getting from all of you, but I hope that all of you have now got this point, that a person becomes a family and a related person only if he is wholly dependent, except spouse and children. So let us see the next question, and that will make the point clear to you. Okay. Mr. Popat has imported architect services free of cost from his brother, who has gone to Germany for studies on Mr. Popat's expenses for his office. Now, what will be your answer? Okay, so all of you were unaware of this point, but it's good that you got this point now. Ishan, you had got the point correctly. You were aware of this provision. Okay, Dhruv, you are right now. In fact, now I think this point all of you will understand. Apurva is also right. Then, not a supply service for Gurmeet, you have written for business purpose, that is why it is not a supply. But if it is for business purpose, it becomes supply, na? Only thing is he should be a related person also. So Lalisha is right. Then Julie is right, yes, because his brother is dependent on him. This is the actual difference which makes this particular service a supply, that now the brother is dependent on Mr. Popat and he becomes a family and a related person of Mr. Popat. It is for a business purpose, therefore it falls in para 4 of schedule 1 and it becomes a deemed supply as per schedule 1. Let us see the next question. Mr. Popat has imported architect services for rupees 50,000 from his brother, a well-settled architect. Now I am again asking this question to all of you, though this question was there, but for his house. Now I hope all of you will answer it correctly. Yes, go, Anil, you had answered the previous question correctly. Nidhi, only one, yes, Nidhi, one condition was being followed, but other was not being followed. That is why it was not a supply. Okay, I think you are giving answer for this. Miss Pooja, last answer was correct. Yours also. Khushi, related without consideration. Yes, last answer was correct. Now I want answer for this particular question. Kirti had answered the last question correctly. Okay, Shifimol understood ma'am supply. Yes, Shifimol. So you understood the concept now? Almus. Okay, you're answering that it is a supply. You're answering. I think you had answered for the previous question, I suppose. Let us come to this particular question. This is not a supply. Again, why? The reason is that he is not a related person. Brother is not a related person because he is well settled and these services are being provided for his house. This question I repeated because I knew that earlier all of you have not appreciated this particular point. Okay. Okay, I will skip this question because it is more or less similar to the earlier question. If time permits, we'll come back to this question because now I want to take more, the difficult or the points where you will revise. So different type of questions I want to take. What is the purpose of Schedule 2? Either option A or option B. Schedule 2. Again a conceptual question and all of you should know. Schedule 2 का क्या purpose है? Classification of a supply into supply of goods or supply of services or determining whether an activity is supply or not. ये supply की definition में schedule 2 की बात की जाती है. Schedule 2 is there in the definition of supply. What is the purpose of schedule 2? So quickly in the chat box if you can mention. Yes, Kirti, you were right. And you were giving the answer for the previous one. Yes. So Kirti has given the answer correctly. Then Shifimol, you are right. Almas, you are right. Mohammed Farhan, that is what I thought that some of you will think this way also. Then Archana, right. Krishna, not right. Astha, okay, you were answering the previous question. Then Soumya, you are right. Ishan also correct. Dhruv, correct. Okay, many of you are answering it correctly. Apurva, you are also right. Gurmeet, right. So the correct option is option A. Schedule 2, though it is mentioned in the definition, it forms part of definition of supply. But Schedule 2, see what it says. The clause of Section 7. Section 7 provides that once a supply transaction or activity is it qualifies as supply. Schedule 2 provides the classification that whether a given activity or transaction which has become supply now, whether it is a supply of goods or supply of services. Though in GST law, both goods and services are subject to GST, but classification is still important. Why? Because you need to determine the exact rate. Different rates are there for goods and services, and that is why this classification becomes important. But Schedule 2 cannot cover all the transactions, that is for sure. You have seen very limited transactions are there in Schedule 2. So what was the purpose of making Schedule 2 or giving certain transactions in Schedule 2 and not every transaction? There, before GST, in pre-GST era, there was always a fight between service tax and VAT. Same transaction used to be considered, GST, the VAT authorities used to consider it as goods and they used to levy VAT on it. And service tax authorities used to consider it as the that particular transaction as service and they used to levy service tax on that particular transaction. So that controversy was always there, or that the fight was always there in case of certain particular transactions. Those transactions have been picked. There was always a litigation on those cases that whether it is a supply of good or supply of services. So that has been clarified by the GST law by way of Schedule 2. Now it is very much clear that, for example, the that construction services. So always both VAT and service tax used to be levied on a same transaction. One was considering it as service, other was considering it as goods. GST law makes it clear that yes, in which case it will be considered as supply of service. Then there was the information technology services, renting of immovable property services. Moreover, there was the hire purchase transactions. So these transactions have now been clarified that whether they fall in goods category or they fall in services category. So this makes it clear. Schedule 2 makes it clear that whether it is a supply of goods or supply of services. Now quickly we'll take few transactions of Schedule 2. Sunshine Limited sells cars to Suhasi manufacturers. I will take these examples very quickly. So one or two answers I will see because I want to cover some other questions from charge also. Okay, Lalisha was providing answer to the previous question. Some of you who are, yes. So any correct answers from any of you or any answers from any of you? Okay. Goods. Anil is saying goods. Then Nidhi. Classified as, okay, Nidhi, I think you were giving the answer to the previous question that it classifies the transactions into goods and services. And Pooja was also giving answers. Okay. Then Nidhi is saying goods. Okay. That is very simple transaction that goods are being, cars are being supplied by the manufacturer, and this is a supply of goods. So this is the simple transaction. Next. Sunshine Limited gives a car on rent to Suhasi manufacturers. Now tell me the answer. Now, Pooja, this was the answer to the previous question, I suppose. Now let us see. Yes, Khushi, you are right. And Nidhi, you are also right. Then Pooja, Miss Pooja is right in this question. Let's see. Kirti, you are right. Shifimol is also right. This, I think all of you know this Almas is also right. Mohammed Farhan, you are also right. And yes, Mansoori Akswano is also giving the answers. Mansoori, I need the answer for this particular next question. You give the answer. So this is a supply of service because renting of cars, giving any goods on rent or for use for a particular purpose, that is a supply of service. You're not actually selling the goods. Only the title is actually not being transferred. Only possession is being transferred for a limited time. That is not a supply of goods. That is a supply of service. So you are giving any machinery on rent. You are giving machinery on lease. That qualifies as supply of that qualifies as supply, and it is categorized as supply of services. Next transaction. Giving the car on hire purchase. So Sunshine Limited has given a car on hire purchase to Miss Suhasi. Okay, Shifimol, right. You're right. Priyanshi, schedule, okay, you are giving the answer to the previous question, I suppose. Yes, Archana, you are right. So this is a supply of goods where the possession of the goods is being transferred immediately, but the title will transfer on a future date. In case of a hire purchase transaction, the goods are immediately given to the person who has entered into hire purchase transaction, but the title is transferred at the end of the hire purchase period if he opts to purchase that particular good or machinery or whatever has been given on hire purchase. That falls in the is considered or classified as supply of goods. Okay. Now let's move to the next question. Sunshine Limited gives clothes to job worker for dyeing, whether it is supply of goods or supply of services. Yes, Sinjana, you are right. It becomes supply of goods, and it becomes the title is transferred on the last installment payment in case of the hire purchase or in case of the installment payment also. Tanu, you are giving the answer for the present question. Yes, you are right. And Archana, right. Soumya is also right. Then Ishan, you are right. Dhruv, you are right. This question, I think this one is easy one. Yes, Apurva, you are also right. This is actually a job work transaction, and this becomes a service. Okay, job work. This is a job work transaction, and job work is considered as service under the GST law. Now, this question I will not take. This is a quiz question. I will take this particular question. Rathi Builders has constructed individual residential units for agreed consideration of 1.2 crores per unit. 90 lakhs per unit were received before issuance of completion certificate, and balance is received after completion. Now, whether it is a supply of goods or supply of services. Quickly in the chat box, please mention the answers. This question has some point in it which you should know. Okay, Ishan has given the correct answer. Gurmeet, I think this question you are yet to give the answer. Soumya, correct. Then Sunil, you have answered it correctly. Anil, you're right. This is a supply of service. Why it is supply of service and which service? Construction service. In case any construction, any immovable property is being transferred to a person, And in that case, some of the consideration is received before the issuance of the completion certificate. So basically, this is the event which is important, issuance of completion certificate. If the property in goods, or sorry, if some of the consideration is being given before completion certificate and some consideration partly is given after the consideration, then it becomes construction service. It is a supply and it is a supply of service. That is construction service. This is what Schedule 2 tells. Now let us come to the next question. Next question also has the similar kind of point. Rathi Builders has constructed individual residential units for the agreed consideration of 1.2 crores per unit. Entire consideration, now this is an important point, entire consideration was received after the issuance of completion certificate by the completion authority and its first occupation. पूरी consideration आपको बाद में मिली है. अगर थोड़ी consideration completion certificate से पहले मिलती है और थोड़ी बाद में मिलती है तो वो supply of services होता है. अगर पूरी consideration, if entire consideration is received after completion certificate is received, then what it will be considered as? This transaction will then, whether it will be a transaction of goods or it will be a transaction of services. In fact, you can read the question, but I don't want to read it completely. I want you to apply your mind in this particular question. There is some catch in this question. So I don't know whether I'm getting the answers for the previous question. I think you are writing the answers. Okay. Miss Pooja. Yes, Pooja, absolutely correct. And it's very good that you have understood this point. It is not a supply per se because of Schedule 3. Schedule 3 says supply of land and building is not a supply, is neither a supply of goods nor supply of services. Real estate sector is outside the purview of GST, but when it is a sale of property. So when you are selling land or you are selling building, now this is a building which is being sold here, that, and it is a sale of building. Why? Because entire consideration is received after the completion certificate is received. Then it becomes sale of building and it is outside the purview of GST by virtue of Schedule 3. So I hope this point is clear to you all. Let's move to the next question because I want to cover more questions in this particular point. This is also a simple question you can do. Again, now one item of Schedule 3 I will take. Sarvana and Sons wishes to start supplying alcoholic liquor for human consumption in the state of Tamil Nadu. Therefore, it applies for license to Tamil Nadu government for selling liquor for which the state government has charged specified fee from it. So, liquor license उसने Tamil Nadu government से लिया है. Whether the grant of alcoholic liquor license by Tamil Nadu government to Sarvana and Sons qualifies as supply or not. Quickly provide me the answer in the chat box. Right, Shifimol. Harshada, you are giving answer for the previous question. Mohammed Farhan, you are right. Astha, what is the meaning of work that transfers in the... Okay, I will tell you that, Astha, don't worry. Let's first complete this question. Yes, Tanu, you are right. And Archana, yes, exclusion. Okay, exclusions for supply. I hope you are answering this particular question only, which I have just posed. So in this question, you know that Schedule 3 contains the supplies, the list of activities or transactions which are considered neither as supply of goods nor supply of services. For example, we have just discussed the sale of building. Apart from that, the services provided by employer to employee, there is a complete list which is there, which are not considered as supply of goods or supply of services. They are non-supplies. So one way is that Schedule 3 provides certain activities or transactions. Second is certain circulars and notifications. They also provide certain activities. They can also, government can also notify certain goods or services as non-supplies, or certain, they can clarify it by way of circular also. So this particular, the grant of alcoholic liquor license by government is a non-supply by way of a notification. They have issued a notification specifically for this purpose. Now here I would want to clarify, if this license is not for alcoholic liquor, it is for some mining rights or some other purpose, the government has given some license to a person for operating in a particular place, for operating in the hilly area, some other license if it is required, some NOC is required, some license is required for working there. So that license will not be covered here and that license will become a supply. Okay. So this is applicable only to grant of alcoholic liquor license for which the notification has been issued that it is not a supply. So I hope that is clear to you. Because payment made to government, yes, Tanu, you are right. Okay. So let us move to I want to move to few of the composite supply and mixed supply questions quickly. Then we'll take charge of GST. And if time permits, we'll come back to the remaining questions of supply chapter because I had kept lot many questions for you people. If time permits, I will take them also. Composite supply, mixed supply, all of you are clear. If two or more supplies, they are naturally bundled in ordinary course of business, they are considered as composite supply. Something which is not a composite supply and a single price is being charged, which is not naturally bundled in ordinary course of business and a single price is being charged, that is a mixed supply. If any supply is not a composite supply or and neither a composite supply nor a mixed supply, it becomes an individual supply. So enough hint I have given to answer to you, all of you, to answer these questions. First is Poshak manufacturers enter into a contract with Chiku Limited for supply of ready-made shirts packed in designer boxes at Chiku Limited's outlet. Further, the Poshak manufacturers will also get them insured during transit. So this insurance service and ready-made service supply, whether it is a composite supply or it is a mixed supply, quickly give me the answer. Archana, okay, you have given answer. Let us see what others are saying. Okay, Soumya, yes, you have got the previous answer correct. Dhruv also had got the previous answer correct. Now, what is the answer to this particular question? Okay, Soumya, you are right. Apurva is also right. Gurmeet, you're not right. In fact, Archana was also not right. And Lalisha is right. Priyanshi, you are also right. Let us come to the answer. This is a composite supply of goods. Why is it a composite supply of goods? Because in ordinary course of business, whenever you buy some goods, insurance, transport, as a ancillary service is provided to you. In ordinary course of business, generally you might ask a person to you deliver the goods at your premises and you say, please arrange the transport, please get the goods insured also for me during the transit. And then once the goods are received at my premises, I will be taking delivery of them. So this is an ordinary course of business. The insurance, the transport is aligned or it is clubbed with the supply of goods or any supply. So this is a composite supply of goods. Next question. A house is given on rent through a single rent deed, one floor of which is used for residence and other for housing a printing press at a lump sum rent amount. Quick answers from all of you. Sunil, I think this is the answer for this particular question only, I suppose. If that is the case, you are right. Then Nidhi, you are right in this question. Khushi, you're right. Miss Pooja is also right. Kirti has given the earlier answer. See, the house given on rent for the house which has been given on rent, single rent deed is there. Okay, that means the price is given at one place. So they must have charged 1 lakh rupees per month or whatever is the price. But they are giving it for two purposes. One is residence and another is for commercial purpose. That is for setting up a printing press. Now, in ordinary course of business, there is no such business practice that if you are giving a house on rent, you have to give it for residence and generally you give it for commercial purpose also. No, this is bundling of two, this is actually clubbing of two different type of activities. Yes, Kirti, you are right that it is a mixed supply because single price is being charged and it is not naturally bundled in ordinary course of business. You have clubbed two activities, you have clubbed two supplies, either supply of goods or supply of services but for a single price, and that is why it becomes a mixed supply. They are not bundled in ordinary course of business. Let us come to the next point, next question. Dum Electronics has sold following electronics to Akbar Retail Store. Refrigerator, stabilizer, LED television, split air condition, and stabilizer for air conditioner. All are taxable at different rates. They have also been given. Now read this information carefully. Dum Electronics has issued a single invoice indicating price of each of the above items separately in the same. Akbar Retail Store has given single check of rupees 1 lakh for all the items as a composite discounted price. State the type of supply and tax rate applicable in this particular case. For this question, I will wait a bit for your answers because I want you to understand an important concept here. Okay, so waiting for your answers. Shifimul, you are right. Good, you appreciated the point which was there in this particular question. Harshda, you need to see your answer. Mohammed Irfan has not given the answer. Others, I'm waiting for others to answer. Okay, yes. Mohammed Farhan. Okay, no, Mohammed, your answer is not right. Tanu, no, it is not the correct answer. Archana, I think you're giving answer for this particular question. Not correct. Astha, not correct answer. Pinchanas, no, not correct. Dhruv, again, not correct answer. Dhruv, I think you have given it for previous one. Yes. For this, no, no, no. Again, not correct, Dhruv. For previous one, it was right, which you had answered. Yes, Soumya, you are right. And Ishan, absolutely right. Apurv, no, not the correct answer. Gurmeet, not correct. Soumya, no, not correct answer. No, Julie. Let me come to the point here. Mixed supply, I told that first of all, if this supplies are related to each other, they are naturally bundled in ordinary course of business, they become composite supply. Now, is it so that when you go to buy a refrigerator, you're always given the stabilizer you might be given, but this stabilizer, it is not always, these two can be uh, considered to be composite. That is why some of you have mentioned it to be composite, but it is not always given as ordinary bundled, generally bundled, and this should have been, the contract should also have been that way. LED television is not always given with the refrigerator. A split air conditioner is also not given with the refrigerator, or they're not given together. Then stabilizer, these are different supplies. Important point here is that a single price is also not there. It is a single invoice which is being raised, but price of each of the items have been mentioned separately in this particular invoice. And the payment is made with a single check. So this is the payment method. This is not the price. Price was different for all the items. It was separately listed. The rate was also separately listed. And it has been paid through a single check. So payment method is irrelevant. Single price is relevant. Had it been so that this and all these electronic items had been given for a consolidated price of 5 lakh, suppose, then it would have become a mixed supply. All of them are not related to each other, but a single price is charged. So they are not ordinarily naturally bundled in ordinary course of business. They are not charged sold at a single price. So they are neither composite supply nor the mixed supply. They are individual supply of goods taxable at the individual rates. So each of these items will be charged at a different rate because all these items have been separately listed in the invoice. Price has been separately mentioned. They are not sold by the electronics store person as together with each other. Generally, these items are not related to each other in ordinary course of business, and that is why it is an individual supply of goods. So, I'm getting some answers, but I don't know individual supplies. Yes, Lalisha, you were right in this particular question. And no, Khushi, this was not a mixed supply. It was a simple supply. That means it was an individual supply taxable at the different rates which were mentioned. Okay. So that with this, we have understood the mixed supply. We have revised mixed supply, composite supply, as well as the individual supply concept. Let us move to charge of GST chapter. And if time permits, we'll come back to the remaining questions of the supply under GST chapter also. Supply of which goods and or service, it's actually goods only, is excluded by the definition of goods and services tax. Definition of goods and services tax as per the constitution. So constitution has a definition of goods and services tax. Which of these following items is excluded by the definition of goods and services tax? So read the question carefully. It is not outside the purview of GST. I'm not asking which item is outside the purview of GST or not leviable to GST. I'm asking which particular goods or the item which is mentioned here is excluded by the definition or is excluded in the definition of goods and services tax as per the constitution. Quickly give me some answers in the chat box. Yes, Kirti, you were right. Single payment, but not single price. So it's a normal supply. Shifimol, you are right. Absolutely right. Harshda is also right. Then Priyanshi. Tanu is also right. In fact, I think this question all of you know. Asta, right? Mohammed Farhan, no, your answer is not right. Almas, you're right. Nidhi, no, Nidhi. Read the question carefully by the definition. Dhruv, actually, you are right that they are generally sold together, but here all the items have been separately listed with separate prices and they are not sold by the electronics stores together. So all of them he was holding, we were selling. It cannot be so then he should have issued different invoices. The case which you are telling, he should have issued different invoice for refrigerator and stabilizer and the air conditioner and stabilizer. Then it would have amounted to a different, a composite supply. Then this is Nidhi. No, Nidhi, you are not right. Ishan. Okay. Ishan, your doubt, please mention regarding para 4, which doubt you have. Fourth part of Popat question. Okay. Please mention, if you can mention the doubt which you have, I will answer that. Here in this case, the goods which are excluded by the definition of GST is alcoholic liquor for human consumption. So these three items are not leviable to GST presently, but they are not excluded by the definition itself. They will be leviable to GST at a from a date to be notified. So at a later point of time, at a subsequent date, they will also become leviable to GST. But alcoholic liquor for human consumption has been excluded by way of definition itself. Okay. 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 Ishan, I will come back to that question because I think I might have missed that point. Yes, Ishan is asking a question regarding I think that was the catch in that particular question. Hmm. Very good, Ishan. You have noted that point. We are coming back to this particular question. Mr. Popert has imported architect services for rupees $50,000 from his brother, a well-settled architect in Germany, for his house. Now, this para 4. Just a minute. Para 4 says that para 4 says when a person imports certain services from a related person in course or furtherance of business, it qualifies as supply, provided it is done without consideration. This transaction is done free of cost. Okay. In this transaction, the point was that the consideration of 50,000 was there. So this becomes taxable or this becomes supply. This qualifies as supply by virtue of section 7(1)(b), which says that import of services. In fact, in this case, though it was not in course or furtherance of business, because we said that there are two tests which had to be qualified: business test plus consideration. And since consideration is there, so we do not have to go to schedule 1. For schedule 1, para 4, we said related person should be there and business, it should be in course or furtherance of business. But we'll go to para 4 only when it is only when consideration is not there. In this case, consideration was there for rupees 50,000, and therefore the we need not go to para 4 of schedule 1 or any of the paras of schedule 1. We had to go to section 7(1)(b), which 7(1)(b), which says that if though both the conditions should be satisfied, business or consideration, business plus consideration, but this is also an exception like schedule 1. Schedule 1 says without consideration also it becomes supply. Similarly, 7(1)(b) says in case of import of services, business test can be absent. That means consideration should be there. Then you are not required to have pass the business test, or it can be in not it, even if it is not in course or furtherance of business, that particular import of service becomes a supply. So in this question, Mr. Popert has imported architect services for consideration, but not in course or furtherance of business. Business element was not present. But since consideration was there, it falls in section 7(1)(b). It does not falls in schedule 1, but that is not required also because consideration is there in this particular question. So Ishan, I think this clears your doubt, the point, and this point is clear to others also. Yes, Archana, you're right. Then it becomes a supply, and it becomes a supply under section 7(1)(b). I think, na? It is section 7(1)(b). Yes, Ishan. So thanks for pointing this out, Ishan. And this is okay. Apurva also had this doubt. And in fact, I think many of you might also have doubt in this particular question. So I hope this is now clarified that the consideration is there. Actually, I myself skipped this consideration point here that the consideration was there in this particular question. So now schedule 1 is not at all attractive. We need not go to schedule 1 in this particular question. Okay. So let us move to the question which we were doing, that we can do charge of GST questions. Um, I think we first of all we'll take the questions of reverse charge mechanism, and then we'll come to this particular these chargeability questions, or you can take one or two questions. Let us go to first question. Which of the following is a union territory as per GST law? Okay, Julie, you were right in the previous question. Which of the following is a union territory as per GST law? Anil, you are answering for this particular question or for the previous question you answered? Okay, Soumya is saying. Okay, Soumya, you were reiterating the section. Yes, section 7(1)(b) was there. Khushi is giving answer for the. I think all of you are giving answer for the previous question only. For this particular question, okay, Miss Pooja, you are right in this question. Lalisha, no, that is not the answer. That is why I had put this question. Shifi Mole is right. Harshada is also right. Priyanshi, right. Priyanshi saying good catch. Yes, that was the catch in that particular question. Tanu is right. Asta is also right. In fact, now all of you are giving correct answer. Gurmeet, you are also right. See, Ladakh is the correct answer. Why these three are not union territories generally known to be union territory? Delhi is Delhi, Puducherry, and Jammu and Kashmir. They have their own legislatures. So they are UTs with legislature. Very, very important point in GST law. In fact, this is in general also, by constitution also, this is the same. But these are union territories with legislature. You know, Delhi has its own legislature, Puducherry has its own legislature, and now Jammu and Kashmir also, after reorganization of Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir is split into two. Jammu and Kashmir union territory with legislature and Ladakh without legislature. So any UT with legislature is included in the definition of state under GST law. Very, very important point. And here, what you will be collecting or is CGST plus SGST, that state's GST will be collected. In case of union territory, you will be collecting CGST plus UTGST. I have put this question just to tell you this intricacy or this particular fine point, that in case of union territory, UTGST plus EGST is charged. In case of states, you know that CGST plus SGST is charged. But in case of UTs with legislature, CGST plus SGST is charged because they are included in the definition of state under the GST law. All UTs with legislature are also states. Okay, so I hope this point now is clear to you all. Let's move to the next question. Now, this nature of transaction which has to be determined, this we'll take afterwards if time permits. So let us start with the reverse charge questions. There are two questions. I will take first question first. In case where the supplier of service, any service which is notified under section 9(3), कोई service ऐसी है 9(3) में notified है, और supplier जो है वो unregistered है. Supplier is unregistered. This is the important point here. So can service be taxable under reverse charge? Can we tax that service under reverse charge? Quickly, students. Let us see. Nidhi, Nidhi is saying no. Gurmeet is saying yes. I will just tell the what everybody is telling and then we'll see what is the correct answer. Ishan, yes. Ishan is saying yes. It can be taxed in reverse charge. Archana is also saying yes. Apurva is saying no. Soumya is saying no. Julie is saying has not given the answer to this particular question. Okay. So those who had answered in the earlier question J&K, now they would be clear that it is Ladakh. J&K is a state or UT with a legislature. Now, in case where the service is notified under Section 9(3) and your supplier is unregistered, that does not make a difference. Yes, Kirti, you have answered it correctly. In RCM, any service which is notified under Section 9(3), tax will be paid under RCM only, whether your supplier is registered or your supplier is unregistered. Because supplier is unregistered, what will happen? Recipient has to pay tax. Recipient will take registration, or if recipient is registered, it will pay tax on its own. Supplier does not have to pay the tax. So in case the supplier is unregistered, then in that case, and that service qualifies as 9(3) service, that is important. So in case, suppose I'm giving you an example here. Security services are there, and we know that security services should not be provided by a company or a body corporate in order to be taxed under Section 9(3), or they will be considered as notified under Section 9(3) if the supplier is not a body corporate and the recipient is a registered person. Now, recipient is a registered person, that is true, but supplier is unregistered and supplier is a body corporate. If it is a body corporate, it will not be a 9(3) service. So supplier is a body corporate and unregistered also. Unregistered companies, it is the supplier is there. In that case, RCM provisions are not applicable, and that is why recipient will not pay tax on this particular transaction, because the supplier would not charge any tax on that. Supplier is unregistered, he will not charge any tax. Recipient also cannot cannot pay tax to the government because it is not a supply under Section 9(3). It comes out of Section 9(3) provisions because supplier is a limited company or supplier is a body corporate. This is an example where even though the supplier is unregistered, but tax will not be paid by the recipient because it is not a service notified under Section 9(3). But in case where service falls under Section 9(3), supplier is unregistered, the liability goes to recipient. He has to pay tax on the same. Registration of supplier is not relevant. It does not matter whether the supplier is registered or not. Okay. So this was a point which I want all of you to know. I wanted that you should know this point. Second, in case where supplier of a service notified under Section 9(4). Now, supplier is registered. Can said service be taxable under reverse charge? In case under Section 9(4), supplier is registered, then can that service be taxed under reverse charge? Quickly, I will take answers from few of you and then we'll see the correct answer. Kirti, it is not taxed. Right, Kirti. Your answer is correct. Ranjani is saying we can. Ranjani is giving answer to previous question. That is right, Ranjani. And Ponito has given answer to previous question, but your answer was not correct. Renting of cars is a supply of. Okay, this was the earlier question which you answered. Okay, so Mansuri Aksmano, you came in the Zoom link itself. That is good because now here you can participate in a better manner. Okay. So I think this question, some of you, in fact, a few of you have been able to answer. Otherwise, you're not able to answer. In case of 9(4), there are certain notified class of persons and notified services are there. Condition is that for those notified class of persons and notified services under Section 9(4), the supplier should be unregistered and recipient should be registered. This is the condition. And plus they should be notified class of persons and notified services or goods should be there. Then the reverse charge provisions under Section 9(4) will apply. Now, since the supplier is registered, the case which I am covering here is supplier is registered, then in that case, the RCM provisions cannot apply here. because the supplier is registered. In case of 9(4), supplier should always be unregistered. Mind this, supplier should always be unregistered, recipient should always be registered. In case of 9(3), whether supplier is registered or supplier is unregistered, it does not matter. Recipient has to pay tax if that service is notified under section 9(3). Okay, I hope this concept is clear to you. Now we'll take few questions quickly. Few cases we'll be taking where you have to tell who is the person liable to pay tax. Sindhu Transporters and Unregistered Goods Transport Agency. Unregistered, now this actually I took because I wanted to again test that particular point. Unregistered Goods Transport Agency provides services of transportation of goods by road to Bindusar manufacturers registered under GST. Who is the person liable to pay tax? Quickly tell me in the chat box. Who is the person liable to pay tax? Yes, Ishan, you were right in the previous question. Good, Ishan, that you no, you were able to identify that particular point. Soumya was also right in that particular question. Dhruv, you are right. Your answer is right. And let us see a few more questions. Krishna is also right. This question, I think all of you should answer correctly. Kirti, why are you mentioning the answer? Can you give me the reason for your answer? Julie is right. Then Aksmanu Mansuri is right. Ranjini, right. Nidhi, right. Archana is also right. Okay. All of you are, most of you are right in this particular question. Yes, Soumya, correct answer. Tanu, your answer is also right. Arshada, answer is correct. Who is the person liable to pay tax? Here is the Bindusar manufacturers because RCM provisions will apply. Supply of service of transportation of goods by a GTA. If GTA is providing the supply of RCM, oh sorry, transportation of goods services, in that case, first of all, there are two conditions. Whether the GTA has opted the exercise the option to pay tax itself or not. Here it is not given. Now, some students might think this is not given, so we can't answer this particular question. But since GTA is not registered itself, so that is clear that it has not exercised option to pay tax. Otherwise, it would have obtained registration. Then after registration, this point will come. Now, at the time of registration, he has to give a declaration in the beginning of the year that whether it exercises the option to pay tax or not. So that point does not apply here. He has not exercised the option to pay tax. Now, this is clear that tax has to be paid under RCM. Why? Because rate will be applicable 5%. He is supplying these services to a registered person. He is one of the specified recipients as per the notifications. We use the word specified recipients to take all the list of recipients which are to whom if the supply is made, RCM provisions will apply. First of all, 12% rate should not apply. 12% rate applies if he has exercised the option to pay tax, then 12%, 5% comes. If he has not exercised the option, definitely 5% rate, the tax will be paid under RCM and 5% rate would be applicable. Why it is taxable under RCM? Because recipient is a specified person. Other specified recipients are the factories registered under Factories Act or the body corporate. Then we have societies, cooperative societies, and we have the casual taxable person, registered person. All these are the specified recipients. So in this case, the tax will be paid under the reverse charge mechanism. Yes. So let's move to the next question. Safal and Company, a partnership firm, sponsored a business summit organized by Neelanchal Limited and paid a sponsorship fee of rupees 1,20,000 to Neelanchal Limited. In this question, first of all, tell me who is the service provider? Who is the service provider? Tell me the name of the service provider. Don't tell me the answer who is liable to pay tax. Tell me the name of the service provider. I want from you, all of you, who is service provider in this case. Okay, you are saying he's a body corporate. It is not mentioned in this question, Astha, but yes, you can take if it is mentioned as body corporate. Shifimul, okay, this was. So, any of you who can tell me that in this particular case, the independent case which is given to you, who is the service provider? Okay. So, Julie, your answer is not correct. That is why I asked this question first of all. Yes, Harshada is right. And Lalisha is also right. And Tanu is not right. That is why I asked this question first. Archana, you're right. Nidhi is right. Some of you, that means, have a doubt. Ranjani is right. Then Aksbanu, Mansuri, any person. No, any person, Aksbanu, I'm asking in this particular transaction, who is the service provider and service receiver? In fact, I'm asking service provider first. Why? Because unless you are able to identify who is the service provider, you will not be able to answer this question. Again, Gurmeet, you are not right. Soumya is right. Then Aksbanu, yes. Now you're right. So you have answered it correctly. Those of you who are answering Safal and Company is the service provider, I want to tell you that in case of sponsorship service, how to identify who is service provider and who is service receiver. There is lot of confusion. Always students get confused in this particular point. Why? They always feel that the person who is giving the sponsorship, who is paying the sponsorship fee, he is the service provider. No, he is paying the consideration. All it's the golden rule to determine whether a person is recipient or provider is who is paying consideration. It is always the recipient who pays the consideration to service provider. So the service, since the Nilanchal Limited is providing the Kirti, you are right. If the Nilanchal Limited is receiving the consideration, that means Nilanchal Limited is the service provider. And who is paying the consideration? Safal and Company. So Safal and Company is the service receiver. So recipient is Safal and Company because he is paying consideration. Sponsorship fee is the consideration for receiving sponsorship services. Sponsorship service देने का मतलब ये होता है कि आपने अपने इवेंट में उनका बैनर लगा दिया, उनको प्रोपोगेट कर दिया. दैट इज दी स्पॉन्सरशिप सर्विस. स्पॉन्सरशिप सर्विस का मतलब ये नहीं कि मैंने बोला मैं आपका इवेंट स्पॉन्सर कर रहा हूँ, वो एक सर्विस नहीं है. स्पॉन्सरशिप सर्विस हमने माना कि स्पॉन्सरशिप सर्विस में आप उनके कंपनी को, उनके बिजनेस को, या जो भी आपको स्पॉन्सर कर रहा है, यू आर एक्चुअली एडवर्टाइजिंग दैट पर्सन सिंस ही हैज गिवन यू दी स्पॉन्सरशिप. तो इसीलिए जो कंसिडरेशन देता है वही सर्विस रिसिपिएंट होता है. इस केस में जो रिसिपिएंट है वो सर्व सफल एंड कंपनी है और प्रोवाइडर नीलांचल लिमिटेड है. अब नाउ आई क्विकली वांट द आंसर, हु इज द पर्सन लायबल टू पे जीएसटी इन दिस केस? In fact, now many of you are giving answer to the previous. Safal and Company is recipient. Yes, Archana, you're right. He is the recipient. हाँ, अब इसमें एक और कैच है कि जो आपकी स्पॉन्सरशिप सर्विसेज होती हैं, स्पॉन्सरशिप सर्विसेज दे आर जनरली टैक्सेबल अंडर रिवर्स चार्ज. बट व्हाट इज द कंडीशन दैट शुड बी फुलफिल्ड? द सर्विस प्रोवाइडर should not be a body corporate. This is an amendment which is applicable for September examination. He should be a person other than body corporate. So if these services, the sponsorship services are being provided by a person who is a body corporate, then that will not qualify as the RCM service. That means that service will not be an RCM service. Okay. Nilanchal Limited is a body corporate. Supplier is a body corporate. So RCM will not be there. In fact, recipient should be a partnership firm or body corporate. That condition is being satisfied that yes, recipient is a partnership firm. That is fine. But supplier should not be a body corporate. And that is why this service is taxable under forward charge mechanism. Many of you would have answered it correctly because this concept many people know. But this amendment you have to keep in mind. Many of you are still saying Safal and Company being a receiver is liable to pay GST under reverse charge. No, because supplier is a body corporate. Supplier should be a person other than body corporate in case of sponsorship service. This is an amendment. Please keep this point in mind. In the examination also, this is an amendment and this is important for the examination because all the amendment based questions are important for the examination. If you see the next question, in next question, it is Nilanchal Associates who is organizing the business summit. Therefore, in this case, the RCM will apply. Why? Because service is being provided, service of sponsorship is being provided by a non-body corporate to a partnership firm. So therefore, RCM provisions will apply and Safal and Company will be the person liable to pay tax. I hope this concept is clear to you. I'm rushing down a bit because we have a lot to cover. I want to cover more aspects of reverse charge notification. So this, I think this was linked to previous question. That is why I explained it here. Okay, next question. Surya, an independent director in Ganga Limited, received sitting fee from the company. Now, who is the person liable to pay tax here? Okay. Aksbanu Mansoori, you are right. Gurmeet, uh, why you have mentioned this answer, Gurmeet? Can you give me some reason? Tanu is right. Krishna is also right. Archana is right. And similarly, Nidhi, no, your answer is not correct. Any particular reason for giving this answer? Kirti is right. Ranjani, but he's an independent director, Ranjani. So independent director is can never be the employee of the company. So in case of the independent, that does not mean independent director does not mean that he is not a director per se. He is a director, and he will independent director. The Companies Act, as per the provisions of Companies Act, I am telling that an independent director can never be an employee of the company. Had he been an employee, employer-employee relationship would have been attracted, and he would have become, this transaction itself would not have been a supply. But here, since it has been expressly mentioned that Surya is an independent director, any services provided by a director to a company, to a body corporate, are taxable under reverse charge, and therefore the recipient has to pay the tax. Now, Ganga Limited is the recipient here because Surya Limited has received sitting fee from the company. So, therefore, he is the Ganga Limited is service provider, Surya is service receiver, and sorry, it is service receiver. Ganga Limited is receiving the services of a director from Surya. Surya is receiving consideration of sitting fee in lieu of his services, and this tax will be paid by Ganga Limited under reverse charge. Why? Because services provided by a director to a company are taxable under reverse charge. Now, an independent director, since the word independent director is there, that means he is not an employee. And since he is not an employee, there can be doubt in case of the uh, director services, there can be doubt that whether this director is an employee. If that director is an employee, then that transaction becomes non-taxable or not a supply. Otherwise, if he is an independent director, it's very clear that he is not an employee, he is a director, and his services will be taxed under reverse charge mechanism by the recipient. Who is receiving services from that director? The company. Company is paying him sitting fees and receiving services. Okay. Yes. So Ranjani, you're right. Then Nidhi is also right now. And Akspanu, yes, Akspanu, you have given the correct answer. Soumya, yes, Soumya, you're right. So RCM will apply here. Let us see the next question. Surya, a director in Ganga Limited, received salary subject to TDS under Section 192 of the Income Tax Act from the company. Now, who is the person liable to pay tax here? So before your answer, you mentioned five because now all the names in the subsequent questions also will remain same. So when you're giving the answer, mention five so that I can know that your answer is to question number subpart five. Otherwise, I will get confused and you will not be able to know the correct answer. So mention five before your answer. Okay. Shifi Mole has given the answer, but I'm not sure whether it is to the correct question only. Okay. Yes. Harshada, your answer is not correct. Though you have identified the point, but think again about this question. Okay, let me tell the answers which everyone is telling. Harshada is saying Surya. Kirti is saying Surya. Dhruv has given the correct answer. I will not tell what is the correct answer. Nidhi is saying Surya. Archana has given the correct answer. Aksvanu has given is saying Ganga. Okay. Aksvanu, you are saying Ganga. Can you give the reason? Gurmeet is saying Surya. Then Dalisha is saying Ganga, and Tanu has given the correct. Okay, it is not applicable. RCM is not applicable. So Tanu, I think you are on the right track. Why it is not applicable. Harshita, you are right. No, but TDS is deducted, so that does not mean that he is an employee. Now, since he is an employee, so how the RCM provisions will apply? Many of you are applying RCM provisions, many of you are not applying RCM provisions. Some of you are saying RCM will not apply because he is not a director. That is true. But since he is not a director, but he is an employee. Now, since he is an employee, employer is giving him a salary, so will this transaction be taxable? Will be supply at all? No, this transaction will not be a supply. That was the catch here actually. एग्जाम में तो ऐसा नहीं पूछेंगे ना कि आरसीएम बताना है. एग्जाम में तो एक क्वेश्चन के बीच में आपको ये स्टेटमेंट मिलेगी और आपको उसको आइडेंटिफाई करना है कि ये एम्प्लॉय तो नहीं है. एम्प्लॉय है तो फिर डायरेक्टर नहीं है, एम्प्लॉय है. पर एम्प्लॉय है तो ऐसा नहीं है कि आरसीएम नहीं लग रहा तो मतलब आरसीएम नहीं लगेगा, बस उसके बाद फॉरवर्ड चार्ज लग जाएगा. ऐसा नहीं है, आपको टैक्सेबिलिटी भी देखनी पड़ेगी. इनफैक्ट ये दोनों जो चैप्टर्स अभी हमने किए हैं इनके क्वेश्चंस जो फुल फ्लेजेड क्वेश्चंस में एक एक एक्सपेंस और एक सप्लाई की तरह आते हैं. इट फॉर्म्स पार्ट ऑफ अ बिग क्वेश्चन. बट आपको ये सारे फाइनल पॉइंट्स पता होने चाहिए बिकॉज अदरवाइज योर फाइनल आंसर विल गो रॉन्ग अगर ये छोटे छोटे पॉइंट्स आपको नहीं पता होंगे. सो आई होप दिस मेक्स दिस पॉइंट क्लियर. तनु, यू आर राइट, इट इज नॉट अ सप्लाई. सो ये पॉइंट आप सबको अप्रिशिएट करना है कि सौम्या भी सही है इस क्वेश्चन में. सौम्या, यू आर राइट. ईशान, यू आर राइट. शेड्यूल 3, दैट इज द पॉइंट हियर. शेड्यूल 3 का पॉइंट है. जैसे Bonito has answered Bonito has answered for the previous question. This was not for this question. Apurva was also right that it is not a supply. Now you have to appreciate this point. It is not a director, that is fine. So it does not mean that RCM will not apply, so forward charge will apply. No, it is not a supply at all. Okay. Let us move to the next question. Surya, registered under GST, rented a commercial property in Rajasthan to Ganga Limited, a registered supplier of goods in Rajasthan. Surya is a director in Ganga Limited. Before your answer, you have to write 6 now. Surya भी रजिस्टर्ड है, गंगा लिमिटेड भी रजिस्टर्ड है. कमर्शियल प्रॉपर्टी जो है उन्होंने सूर्या ने रेंट करी है. सो इट हैज गिवन द सर्विस ऑफ रेंटिंग ऑफ कमर्शियल प्रॉपर्टी टू गंगा लिमिटेड. सूर्या इज अ डायरेक्टर. सूर्या डायरेक्टर है और उसने रेंटिंग ऑफ कमर्शियल प्रॉपर्टी की सर्विस गंगा लिमिटेड को दे दी है. नाउ हु विल बी द पर्सन लायबल टू पे टैक्स? क्विकली इसका आंसर मुझे आप लोगों से चाहिए बिकॉज इसमें भी एक ट्रिकी पॉइंट है विच आई वांट ऑल ऑफ यू टू नो. क्विकली प्लीज टेल मी द आंसर इन द चैट बॉक्स. अभी 5th पे है सब लोग. 6th पे यू हैव टू राइट 6 एंड यू हैव टू गिव द आंसर. Any answers for this particular question? Any answers? No answers for this question. So let me tell you the point which is there. Any answers? Yes, Ishan. Okay. No more answers. So let me tell you what is the catch here. Now here, the RCM because of director services will not apply because though he is a director, he is not providing services in the capacity of a director. Director के केस में 2-3 points बहुत important है. First point is that director should not be an employee, otherwise it will become a non-supply. Second point is that the director should provide the services to the body corporate in the capacity of a director. Here he is not providing the renting of immovable property because he is a director. In the capacity of director, he is not renting the commercial property. वो जो सर्विस दे रहा है वो डायरेक्टर की सर्विसेज नहीं है. कमर्शियल प्रॉपर्टी रेंट करना डायरेक्टर का काम नहीं होता. डायरेक्टर का काम तो आपकी जो है पॉलिसी डिसीजंस लेना होता है, ओवरऑल फ्रेमवर्क सब चीजें देखना होता है. बट कमर्शियल प्रॉपर्टी को रेंट आउट करना इज नॉट अ डायरेक्टर्स जॉब. This service of renting of immovable property is not being provided in the capacity of a director, and therefore the RCM provisions will not apply here. अब यहाँ पर एक और सर्विस भी है लेकिन उस सर्विस का हम नेक्स्ट पॉइंट में क्वेश्चन देखेंगे. यहाँ पर आरसीएम नहीं लग रहा है. दिस इज द ओनली कंक्लूजन. आरसीएम विल नॉट अप्लाई हियर. ओके. जो रेंटिंग ऑफ इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी वाला कैच है दैट विल सी इन द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. बट हियर क्योंकि वो दैट पर्सन सूर्या इज नॉट अ डायरेक्ट, ही इज नॉट प्रोवाइडिंग सर्विसेज इन द कैपेसिटी ऑफ अ डायरेक्टर. देयरफॉर जबकि वो एक रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन को दे रहा है सर्विसेज, बॉडी कॉर्पोरेट है वो पर्सन, वो खुद भी जो है वो डायरेक्टर है कंपनी का, लेकिन तब भी यहाँ पे रिवर्स चार्ज मैकेनिज्म नहीं लगेगा. लेट्स सी द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. We'll come to that commercial property renting afterwards. Surya is a recovery agent. It has provided recovery agent services to Money Bank. Who is the person liable to pay tax? Quickly, please tell me the answer in the chat box. Who is the person liable to pay tax? We have to exceed at least 15 minutes today to cover all the questions because कुछ important points है जो मैं आपको बताना चाहती हूँ. आपको बहुत काम आएंगे एग्जाम में एंड यू विल, जो जितने ट्रिकी पॉइंट्स हमने इन क्वेश्चंस में किए हैं ना, those are the points which you should appreciate. क्वेश्चंस पढ़ के एप्लीकेशन तो आप कर लोगे सब में, बट ये जो ट्रिकी पॉइंट्स जहां जहां आ रहे हैं, जहां प्रैक्टिकल क्वेश्चंस में जो प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही हैं, दैट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड एंड प्रिपेयर फॉर द एग्जाम. लेट अस सी व्हाट इज द आंसर हियर. अभी फिफ्थ का आंसर अच्छा सुनील ने दिया. लीना लीना में सिक्स में आरसीएम. लीना यू अप्लाइड आरसीएम इन सिक्स वन ना, but it is not applicable. I hope now, Lina, it is clear to you that RCM was not applicable there. अब सेवेंथ में अच्छा मनी बैंक. ओके अर्चना, your answer is correct. Aksmanu Mansuri, answer is correct. Harshda, correct answer. And Apurva, correct. All of you are correct in this. Almas is also correct. Almas बहुत देर बाद आपने आंसर दिया. खुशी गुप्ता, correct. Almas used to be a very regular student in our LVC class, and many of you had been regular. So, Miss Pooja, you are also right. Born into has not answered. Mohammed Farhan, you have given the answer to previous question. Ishan Bisht has also given correct answer. Let us come to the point. So the Nidhi is also given correct answer. So any services provided by the recovery agent to a bank or NBFC is taxable under reverse charge mechanism. Okay, this is the simple principle. Now let us come to the next one. Okay, in this question, let me ask you another question. This is not money bank. This is money limited, a manufacturer. Now, will there be any change in your answer? Quickly tell me in the chat box. This is not a bank. Recovery agent is providing some recovery services to a manufacturer. Now, what will be your answer? Good, Soumya. Good. Ishan, you're right. And Nidhi is also right. So, you got that point. That is, I'm happy to know that you have got that point. Yes, Tanu, you're right. And Kirti, okay, you have given answer to previous question. Your previous answer was right. And Gurmeet, if it is answer to the current question which I am asking, then it's wrong. But to previous question, this was right. Your answer was right for the previous question. Okay, recovery agent, yes. So Astha, you are also right. If it is not, if the service recipient is not a bank, if it is not a bank, then RCM will also not apply. Because recovery agent services, if they are provided to a bank or NBFC, then only RCM will apply. Otherwise, RCM will not apply. Recovery agent की services अगर आप manufacturer को दे रहे हो, that will not be taxed under RCM. Let's move to next question. Popat and Company, a partnership firm, has received commission as direct selling agent from ICIDI Bank. Quickly tell me the answer to this particular question. Who will be the person liable to pay tax? Arshida, your answer to previous question was right. Apurva, okay, I saw your answer late. Aksmanu Mansuri, yes, your answer to previous question was right. Khushi also given. Khushi, no reverse charge will be there. Yes, this answer is correct. No. This answer is not correct, Khushi. I saw your answer. So, Archana, your answer is also not correct. What about others? I'm waiting for your answers. So it has received commission from ICIDBI Bank. It has received commission. So it is providing services to ICIDBI Bank, Popat and Company. Archana, your answer is not correct. Then let me see others. Sinchana, okay, you are not given answer to this. Khushi, yes. Khushi, you have identified the correct point here. Lalisha, correct. Absolutely correct. Ranjini, not correct. Your answer is not correct. And then one more answer I will take. Sahib. Okay, Sahib, you had provided answer to the earlier question. Service provider not registered, hence RCM. Not registered, here RCM. I have to see which answer you were telling. Here the direct selling agent service is being provided by Popat and Company, Popat Lal and Company to a banking company. That is fine. But direct selling agent services are taxable under reverse charge only when direct selling agent is an individual. If he is a partnership firm or a body corporate, then RCM will not apply. So here RCM is not applicable. forward charge mechanism will apply. It should be provided to a banking company, that is fine, NBFC or banking company, that is fine. But the supplier should be an individual direct selling agent. It should not be a partnership firm, it should not be a body corporate. That was the catch here, which some of you could not find out. But I hope now this point is clear to you. इसीलिए इन जो आपकी direct, yes, Shifi Mole has also find it out, मतलब correctly pointed it out. And Ms. Pooja was also right that this should be taxed under forward charge mechanism because it's not an individual direct selling agent. Now Ms. Popat has received, Mr. Popat, now this question is clear, very simple now because अब Mr. Popat आ गए तो he is an individual. So here the RCM will apply. I want to cover more important points. ये मैंने इसीलिए आपको खुद ही बता दिया, अब आप सब लोग इसमें सही आंसर कर सकते थे क्योंकि हाँ मिस्टर पोपट है तो वो इंडिविजुअल डायरेक्ट सेलिंग एजेंट है और वो एक बैंकिंग कंपनी को सर्विस प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं तो आरसीएम यहाँ पे लग जाएगा. Now I want answer to this question. Surya, registered under GST, has rented the residential dwelling owned by him to ध्रुव तारा लिमिटेड रजिस्टर्ड अंडर जीएसटी. इसमें भी आप 10 करके आंसर करेंगे, वो सूर्या बहुत बार आ चुका है. सो क्वेश्चन नंबर 10 में यू राइट 10 and you write the answer. Surya is registered under GST, provided services to ध्रुव तारा लिमिटेड, also registered under GST. कौन सी सर्विस प्रोवाइड की है? रेजिडेंशियल ड्वेलिंग अंडर जीएसटी, रेजिडेंशियल ड्वेलिंग. नाउ क्विकली टेल मी द आंसर. Aksbanu. Okay, right. Aksbanu, your answer is right. Sinchana Shetty, you're answering to this particular question. Then in that case, it's not right. It's not right if we are saying this. Okay, yes, you're right. Lalisha. No, Lalisha, why have you mentioned this answer? This is a residential dwelling, Lalisha. See, this is a residential dwelling. So you have to keep that point in mind. Yes, Harshada is right. And I will see one more answer, then I will tell you the reason. Okay, Astha is also right. Residential dwelling services provided to an unregistered person are exempt. Under the exemptions chapter, you must have done that. Residential dwelling services provided to a registered person are taxable and tax is payable under RCM. So since the services are received by a registered person, services of residential dwelling renting, RCM will apply. Let's move to the next questions to understand certain points in this particular point. There in that question, the commercial property was there. Some of you would be thinking about the independent director question earlier, which we had seen. But let's come to the next question, then we'll take that question also. Why there it was RCM was not applicable. We'll once again go to that particular question. Surya, unregistered under GST, has rented the residential dwelling owned by him to Dhruv Tara Limited. You have to mention 11 to answer this particular question. Asta, I have to check whether individual includes HUF. I have to check, but I don't think definition of individual includes HUF. So I think an HUF will also not be included. It should be only individual, it mentions. So Surya, unregistered under GST, has provided the services to Dhruv Tara Limited, registered under GST. Let me quickly go through 2 or 3 answers and then I will tell you because this one is simple. Yes. No. Aksbanu Masuri, you have gone wrong here. Yes. Apurva is right. Then Miss Pooja is right. Shifimol is right now. And Sahib is right. Then Khushi is also right. Yes, for 11th. So here also, we have already seen if your recipient, in case of 9(3) service, this is a 9(3) service. Why? Because residential dwelling services provide की जा रही है to a registered recipient. And provider can be any person. So your provider is an unregistered person providing the residential of dwelling renting service to a registered person. 9(3) service, 9(3) provisions will apply, RCM provisions will apply. यहाँ unregistered है अगर आपका supplier तो भी कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. Registered tax तो recipient को pay करना है. Recipient is registered, नहीं भी registered होता तो वो registration लेके tax pay करता तो RCM provisions are applicable. We'll do next question also, उससे आपको ये सारे previous points और appreciate कर पाओगे. Now see this question. 12 लिखकर आपको आंसर देना है. Surya, registered under GST, has rented the commercial property owned by him to Dhruv Tara Limited, registered under GST. RCM लगेगा या नहीं लगेगा आपको बताना है. 12 लिखकर आंसर कीजिएगा. You have to write 12 before your answer. Archana, you have provided the answer to previous question, I suppose. You have to write 12 and you have to give the answer to me for this particular question. You have to write 12. So till now, I have got answer only for 11th point. Yes. Sahib, your answer is right. Miss Pooja, right. Soumya, right. So I think you have got that point. Tanu is also right here. We'll take one more answer. Yes, Kushi is also right. So you have appreciated that point which I wanted to tell you. यहाँ पे renting of commercial property है, residential dwelling नहीं है. Commercial property के case में supplier should always be unregistered, and this is the only service where this specific condition has been given. Because earlier also we had seen कि registered हो चाहे unregistered हो, but यहाँ पर registered होना जरूरी है. This is the condition which has been laid by notification 13 by 2017 for the intrastate services, that is the notification. And most of you, I think, would have appreciated that point. Here, since the supplier is registered, that is why RCM will not apply. Shifi Mole is also right. Apurva, you have answered it. I think 12th you are answering now, but this will be tax will be paid by Surya in this case. Because Surya is registered. Surya should have been unregistered to make it taxable under RCM. Okay. So I hope this point has become clear to you. In case of residential dwelling, the supplier can be registered or unregistered, does not make a difference. In case of the commercial property, if you are renting, supplier should be unregistered, recipient should be registered. And in fact, in case of the director services, in case of director, we had consciously taken the commercial property wala case, and the supplier and recipient both were registered. तो वहां पर किसी भी तरह से RCM नहीं लग रहा था, because we wanted our answer to be correct. Otherwise, also taking into consideration the full notification. So I hope this point is now clear to you all. जो लोग 12th में RCM बोल रहे हैं, अब उन्हें समझ में आ गया कि unregistered होना चाहिए supplier. Okay, let's come to the next question. So now this question is, I think, easy one. Surya is unregistered under GST. So it has rented out the commercial property to a registered person. RCM will apply here. Just now we had done this point only. So I will quickly move to next question. Now let's see the composition supply. इसमें दो questions मुझे आपको कराने हैं, जो दोनों में आप एक नया point सीखोगे. सिंपल कॉम्पोजिशन स्कीम जो आपने पढ़ ली है वो सबको आपको समझ में आ जाएगी. उसके सिंपल क्वेश्चंस यू विल बी एबल टू डू. नाउ आई वांट टू टेल यू टू मेक यू क्लियर विद टू इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चंस. इसमें कंप्यूटेशन भी नहीं है, बट एक इंपॉर्टेंट फाइन पॉइंट है विच यू विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड विद दीज टू क्वेश्चंस. फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन. Sultan and Sons, a partnership firm based in Nagpur, Maharashtra, is a wholesaler of a taxable product P. एक प्रोडक्ट वो कौन सा बना रहा है? टैक्सेबल प्रोडक्ट है P, और दूसरा है प्रोडक्ट Q, exempt by way of a notification. ओनली विद इन द स्टेट ऑफ महाराष्ट्र. वो सिर्फ महाराष्ट्र स्टेट में उस प्रोडक्ट को सप्लाई करता है. इट्स एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर इन द प्रीवियस ईयर इज 130 लाख. और फर्म वांट्स टू ऑफर कॉम्पोजिशन स्कीम अंडर सबसेक्शंस 1 and 2, जो कि बेसिकली प्राइमरली मैन्युफैक्चरर्स के लिए होती है. However, its accountant is of the view that a person engaged in making supply of exempt goods is not eligible for said scheme. मुझे आप चैट बॉक्स में सिर्फ आंसर चाहिए एलिजिबल या इनएलिजिबल. अगर आप इनएलिजिबल बोल रहे हो तो सिर्फ रीजन देना है, एलिजिबल बोल रहे हो तो एक छोटा सा रीजन, जस्ट शॉर्ट में आप रीजन दोगे ये एलिजिबल है कॉम्पोजिशन के लिए या नहीं है. और एक शॉर्ट में रीजन इसलिए क्योंकि यहाँ पर येस और नो से काम नहीं चलेगा. दैट पॉइंट आई वांट ऑल ऑफ यू टू अंडरस्टैंड. वेरी गुड अक्सबानु मंसूरी, योर पॉइंट एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट पॉइंट. Sahib is asking in this case unregistered, then RCM applies. Sahib, you were asking for the previous question, I suppose. No, not previous question. You were asking for this particular question, na? Yes. This question we have already seen that in 13th part. You might be asking for 12th question, Sahib. In 13th, you must have seen that if he is unregistered, RCM will apply. Okay. Let us see other answers. Nidhi. Okay, Nidhi has not given answer for this particular question. Ishan wished. Very good, Ishan. Those who have appreciated this point, I'm really happy, because Lalisha, you have given one reason, but I think you have not. What about the accountant's view? What is your take on the accountant's view that exempt supplies are outside the purview of composition supplies? If somebody is making exempt supplies, he cannot take composition scheme. I'm getting very few answers for this particular question. What about the composition scheme? So is it so, Shifimol, you are right, but can you please tell me the reason also? Tanu, you are partially correct. Your answer is correct, but one point was there which I wanted you to appreciate. Taxable is not eligible. Kirti, I didn't get your answer. He is taxable person, so he's not eligible. Why is it so? He is a taxable person, so he has this option to opt for the. Every registered person has this option to go for composition or not. Eligible, yes. Mani Vanan, your answer is right, but I wanted the reason also from all of you. Small reason, because yes, no likhna is easy, but here I want you to appreciate one point. Eligible as exempt supply to include. Asa, I didn't get your point actually. What you want to say? No, Nidhi, this is not the reason. First of all, your conclusion is wrong, but reason is also wrong. Eligible outward supply. Shifimul, reason is not very implicit. Not able to understand. Not very explicitly you have mentioned it. Not eligible. Okay, Apurva, this is one of the reasons, but the reason which is actually no turnover is less than 150 lakhs. This is very simple point. I already told you. I will take two questions. उसमें सारे simple provisions composition के लग जाएंगे वो है. दो एक दोनों में एक एक कैच है which I will be telling you, but many of you have been able to find it out also. सौम्या, you have mentioned correctly कि ठीक है आपका partially correct है. Intra-state transactions करता है, that is true. When we see the conditions for taking the composition scheme, one of the conditions is it should be engaged only in making outward supply, intrastate outward supplies. तो यहाँ जो outward supplies हैं वो सिर्फ महाराष्ट्र में हो रही है, intrastate है, condition fulfilled. Last year's turnover should not exceed 150 lakhs, वो भी नहीं हो रहा है. पर यहाँ पर एक चीज हो रही है कि वो एग्जेम्प्ट प्रोडक्ट एक सप्लाई कर रहा है जो कि एग्जेम्प्ट है बाय वे ऑफ नोटिफिकेशन, और अकाउंटेंट का ही मानना है कि एग्जेम्प्ट गुड्स नहीं होते हैं एलिजिबल. जो लोग एग्जेम्प्ट गुड्स सप्लाई करते हैं वो एलिजिबल नहीं होते हैं. इस पॉइंट पे आप लोगों का क्या टेक है? ये तो ठीक है, इंटरेस्ट रेट और वो सब कुछ है. हर्षदा, आप भी मुझे मतलब, आई वांट रीजन फ्रॉम ऑल ऑफ यू कि क्यों नहीं है. He is eligible because he has given exempt supply in previous year. That does that makes it eligible, Pooja, for composition? Is it a sum of the condition or what? रंजनी ने जैसे लिखा इनएलिजिबल, क्योंकि बिकॉज शी फील्स की इन एग्जाम गुड्स सप्लाई करने से आप इनएलिजिबल हो जाते हो. तो दैट कुड ये, दो इट इज नॉट द करेक्ट आंसर, बट ये उनका टेक है कि जो अकाउंटेंट कह रहा है वो ठीक है. एज पर हर अकाउंटेंट इज राइट, बट लेट मी टेल यू द करेक्ट आंसर नाउ बिकॉज आई थिंक आई हैव गॉट इनफ आंसर्स. इट इज एग्जाम्प्ट गुड्स नहीं, शिफिमोल, दिस इज नॉट द करेक्ट रीजन. एग्जाम्प्ट गुड्स हो चाहे एग्जाम्प्ट सर्विसेज हो, डज नॉट मेक एनी डिफरेंस. एग्जाम्प्ट अकाउंटेंट के हिसाब से एग्जाम्प्ट नहीं होना चाहिए. लेकिन एक्चुअली में जो कंडीशन है फॉर अप्लाइंग फॉर कॉम्पोजिशन स्कीम, इंटरेस्ट रेट और 150 लाख के टर्नओवर से तक होना चाहिए, वो ठीक है. वन ऑफ द कंडीशन इज दैट इट शुड नॉट बी एंगेज्ड इन सप्लाई ऑफ in making supply not leviable to GST. Your supply, the person should not be engaged in supply which is not leviable, in making any supply which is not leviable to GST. जो वर्ड यूज हो रहा है वो नॉट लेविएबल हो रहा है. अब now any product which is exempt by way of a notification, that means उस प्रोडक्ट को पे जीएसटी लेवेबल तो है, लेकिन सब्सिक्वेंटली बाय वे ऑफ नोटिफिकेशन उस प्रोडक्ट से जीएसटी एग्जेम्प्ट कर दिया गया है. तो अगर हम देखें तो ये जो कंडीशन है नॉट लेवेबल टू जीएसटी, वो हम मीट कर रहे हैं. दैट इट इज सॉरी, इट शुड, वो कंडीशन मतलब उस कंडीशन में हम नहीं फॉल कर रहे हैं, या ये जो इनएलिजिबिलिटी क्राइटेरिया है कि इट शुड नॉट बी एंगेज्ड इन एनी सप्लाई नॉट लेवेबल टू जीएसटी. सो वी आर एंगेज्ड इन अ सप्लाई विच इज लेवेबल टू जीएसटी, सब्सिक्वेंटली एग्जेम्प्ट बाय वे ऑफ अ नोटिफिकेशन. ठीक है, तो ये पॉइंट क्लियर हुआ. एग्जेम्प्ट गुड्स एग्जेम्प्ट सर्विसेज में कोई डिफरेंशिएशन नहीं है. नॉट लिवेबल टू जीएसटी में भी गुड्स भी हो सकते हैं, सर्विसेज भी हो सकती है. इसलिए ऐसा बाइफर्केशन यहाँ पे नहीं है कि सिर्फ गुड्स होने चाहिए सर्विसेज होने चाहिए. वो आपका जो ये रिस्ट्रिक्शन है वो ईसीओ के केस में है, बट यहाँ पे नहीं है वो गुड्स और सर्विसेज का कोई भी बाइफर्केशन. योर सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स और सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विसेज शुड शुड बी अ सप्लाई विच इज लेविएबल टू जीएसटी. वो नॉट लेविएबल नहीं होना चाहिए. तो यहाँ पर लेविएबल तो है, सब्सिक्वेंटली एग्जेम्प्ट किया है बाय वे ऑफ नोटिफिकेशन. इसीलिए जब हम जल्दी जल्दी में वो कंडीशन पढ़ते हैं और उसको याद करते हैं तो बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स उसको ऐसे याद कर लेते हैं, नॉट लिवेबल एग्जेम्प्ट, मतलब एग्जेम्प्ट करके उसको याद कर लेते हैं। जब वो एग्जाम में आता है तो उसको फिर आंसर हम उसी हिसाब से करते हैं, वो आंसर गलत हो सकता है। और ये आपका एमसीक्यू में भी आ सकता है। ये पॉइंट थोड़ा सा ट्रिकी या फाइन पॉइंट है, बट ऑल ऑफ यू शुड नो कि जब हम कहते हैं इनएलिजिबिलिटी फॉर कॉम्पोजिशन स्कीम, देन इट शुड बी द product, the supply should be leviable to GST, though it can be exempt afterwards by way of notification. So I hope this point is clear to you all. तनु saying no is an wholesaler, नहीं तनु, उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, होलसेलर भी हो सकता है, ऐसी कोई कंडीशन नहीं है that he cannot be an wholesaler. He should be a manufacturer, ऐसी भी कंडीशन नहीं है हर्षदा। मैन्युफैक्चरर ट्रेडर सब अलाउड होते हैं, मैन्युफैक्चरर के लिए एक अलग रेट है, अदर सप्लायर्स के लिए एक अलग रेट है, बट he should not be engaged in any supply which is not leviable to GST. Shifimul has understood it now. Let us move to the next question. That will be the last question for the day. इस क्वेश्चन में भी आप एक नया पॉइंट सीखोगे। नहीं, ये वाला नहीं, ये बहुत सिंपल पॉइंट है, ये वाला क्वेश्चन सिंपल है। लेट मी टेल यू दिस क्वेश्चन कि आप कॉम्पोजिशन स्कीम जो है वो एक अपने, यू हैव प्लेसेस ऑफ बिजनेस इन टू स्टेट्स। एक स्टेट ऑफ बिजनेस के लिए, मतलब एक रजिस्टर्ड बिजनेस के लिए आप लेना चाहते हो कॉम्पोजिशन, दूसरे के लिए नहीं लेना चाहते हो, तो दैट इज नॉट अलाउड। आपको पैन इंडिया बेस पे कॉम्पोजिशन स्कीम लेनी पड़ती है। दिस वॉज द क्वेश्चन आई वॉन्टेड ऑल ऑफ यू टू टेल मी कि मोहन एंटरप्राइजेस इज एंगेज्ड ओनली, वो एक ही काम करता है बस, ट्रेडिंग ऑफ पान मसाला इन राजस्थान, और वो उसी स्टेट में रजिस्टर्ड भी है, और वो राजस्थान में ही सप्लाई कर रहा है। वो कहीं इंटर स्टेट सप्लाई नहीं करता, सिर्फ इंटर स्टेट सप्लाई करता है। इस क्वेश्चन में आई वांट आंसर्स फ्रॉम ऑल ऑफ यू कि वेदर ही इज एलिजिबल और ही इज इनएलिजिबल। वो पान मसाला सप्लाई कर रहा है विद इन द सेम स्टेट, जो भी स्टेट है उसका, राजस्थान में वो कर रहा है, और राजस्थान में वो रजिस्टर्ड भी है। नॉट, मिस पूजा, यू आर सेइंग, you are asking about, Pooja, you are asking for the previous question. So if that is the case, yes, then your answer will be that he is not eligible. If that would have been the case, you are right. Shifimol, very good, Shifimol. I wanted all of you to appreciate this point. Let us see how many of you are able to appreciate. Harshda, it's not the correct answer. Ranjini, yes, you have correctly understood the point. Tanu, no, Tanu, you have to tell me whether he is eligible or not. It seems that you want to say, I can understand your point. You have to tell me whether he is eligible for composition. Yes, Soumya, you have got the correct point. Harshda, yes, Harshda. Now it's right. So you got the point which I was trying to appreciate. Or what I wanted you to appreciate. Yes, Apurva is also right. Nidhi, no, you are not right, Nidhi. Astha, both are no. Acha, okay. And 10 to A, when Astha, you talk about 10 to A, till now we do not know what is notified. Nothing has been notified for 10 to A. Notified goods are there for 10-1 and 10-2, but for 10 to A, nothing has been notified. So we can't take those same goods for 10 to A also. Tanu is not right. Yes, Pooja, you have appreciated that point. You have understood that point. And Sunil has answered correctly. Sunil, can you tell me the reason also? No, no, Nidhi, you're not. Okay, you're giving the answer not. Okay, not correct, Nidhi. Lalisha is right. Can you give me the reason also, Lalisha? Okay. Ishan is also right. Ishan, you are right in your answer. Khushi, yes, right. In fact, this is the point. These are the points you should focus. And those who are giving correct answer, it actually shows that they have done everything very meticulously. Then only you will be able to answer this question. Yes, Krishna, you're right. Julie, no, Julie, your reason is wrong. Answer is correct. Reason is not correct. Akswanu Masuri, no, answer is not correct. Okay, I have seen all your answers. Let me tell you what is the correct answer. पान मसाला देखते ही एक रेड फ्लैग आ जाता है कि इट इज वन ऑफ द नोटिफाइड गुड्स फॉर विच द कॉम्पोजिशन स्कीम इज नॉट एलिजिबल। लेकिन उसके साथ साथ जो बहुत सारे बच्चों ने अप्रिशिएट किया वो पॉइंट ये था कि ही शुड बी एंगेज्ड इन मैन्युफैक्चर ऑफ नोटिफाइड गुड्स। अगर नोटिफाइड गुड्स की आप ट्रेडिंग कर रहे हो, यू आर नॉट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग दी नोटिफाइड गुड्स, देन दैट इन एलिजिबिलिटी इज नॉट एप्लीकेबल, देन यू बिकम एलिजिबल। तो पान मसाला की यहाँ पे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग तो हो ही नहीं रही, यहाँ तो ट्रेडिंग हो रही है। मोहन एंटरप्राइजेस इज ट्रेडिंग दी पान मसाला, एंड देयरफॉर ही इज एलिजिबल फॉर कॉम्पोजिशन स्कीम। अब इन छोटे छोटे पॉइंट से हमें ये समझ में आता है कि जब हम जीएसटी लॉ पढ़ते हैं तो हमें जीएसटी के हर कॉन्सेप्ट को बहुत ध्यान से पढ़ना है। थोड़ा एक मिसकंसेप्शन रहता है कि ये सिंपल चीज है, समझ में आ रही है और बस इसको हम करते चलेंगे, याद हो गया, एग्जाम में हम कर लेंगे। बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स आते हैं, मेनी स्टूडेंट्स कम टू अस एंड दे से कि वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग लॉट वेरी हाई मार्क्स एंड वी हैव नॉट गॉट इन जीएसटी। पर्टिकुलरली जीएसटी में ऐसा होता है क्योंकि वी गेट ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट, वी फील कि बड़ा समझ में आ रहा है सब कुछ कॉन्सेप्ट और बहुत इजीली समझ में आ रहा है सब कुछ, बहुत अच्छा है। जब आप स्टडी मटेरियल पढ़ते हो आपको बहुत इजीली सब समझ में आता है, लेकिन जो छोटी छोटी फाइनर पॉइंट्स है यू फॉरगेट टू आइडेंटिफाई देम। और यही पॉइंट्स एग्जाम में गलत हो जाते हैं और हमें लगता है हम बहुत अच्छा पेपर करके आए थे लेकिन पेपर में मार्क्स उतने नहीं आए। तो दिस कुड बी वन ऑफ द रीजंस। दूसरा रीजन ये भी होता है कि वी फील कि वी हैव रिटन द आंसर्स इन आवर ओन लैंग्वेज एंड एग्जामिनर हैज नॉट गिवन अस द मार्क्स। ये बहुत कॉमन प्रॉब्लम है जो आपको बहुत सारे, मतलब बहुत सारे बच्चे आप में से भी ये बात फील करते होंगे हु हैज अटेम्प्टेड द क्वेश्चन प्रीवियसली। बट please make it a point कि when you are answering, expressing your answer in your own words, same meaning should be conveyed. I have seen lot many examples where students have not conveyed the same meaning when they are expressing the answer in their own words. This does not mean that you should not write the answer in your own words. No, you should write the answer in your own words only. But please take care कि वही मीनिंग कन्वे हो जो कि प्रोविजन कहते हैं। अगर आप प्रोविजन का मीनिंग चेंज कर दोगे तो अपने वर्ड्स में, तो फिर आप ये नहीं कह सकते कि मैंने अपने वर्ड्स में लिखा था इसलिए मार्क्स नहीं मिले थे। जनरली इट इज द केस कि व्हेन वी राइट इन आवर ओन वर्ड्स, we sometimes we are not able to write it in the correct manner, हम वो correct meaning नहीं convey कर पाते। so that caution should also be taken that you convey the correct meaning. only doing interest in not, सुनील आपका आंसर का रीजन नहीं ठीक था अब तो, लेकिन आंसर का रीजन समझ आ गया होगा। what is the transfer of property in goods is involved in execution? वर्क्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में आस्था मैं पहले भी आपका खैर क्वेश्चन देख चुकी थी। वर्क्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में इमूवेबल, जीएसटी लॉ में जो अब डेफिनेशन है वर्क्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट की उसमें इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी इंक्लूड नहीं होती। तो ट्रांसफर इन प्रॉपर्टी हम गुड्स की ही बात कर रहे हैं उसके अंदर। वर्क्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट डज नॉट इंक्लूड मूवेबल, सॉरी इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी वर्क्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में नहीं आती। प्लीज यस पूजा, आई विल शेयर दीज क्वेश्चंस ऑन द पोर्टल। अभी आपकी प्रैक्टिस के लिए थे क्वेश्चन क्योंकि थोड़े सारे नए टाइप के क्वेश्चंस थे तो अभी हमने शेयर नहीं किए थे, बट नाउ दे विल बी शेयर्ड। शेड्यूल 3 में if deemed as employee before the commence, Asta, you are asking question in schedule 3C, if deemed as employee before the commencement of this clause. I didn't get your point, Asta. आप थोड़ा अपनी query को elaborate करो। अदरवाइज वी हैव कम टू एन एंड ऑफ दिस सेशन। हमने सारी जो पॉइंट्स जो क्वेश्चंस करने थे दोनों चैप्टर्स को रिवाइज करने के लिए, स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ सप्लाई टिल द कॉम्पोजिशन स्कीम, वी हैव रिवाइज्ड ऑल द कॉन्सेप्ट, सिग्निफिकेंट पॉइंट्स, ट्रिकी पॉइंट्स जो आपको एग्जाम में एप्लीकेशन में हेल्प करेंगे वो आपने कर लिए हैं। नेक्स्ट क्लास ऑल्सो जो हमारी संडे को होगी इसमें टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई और प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई का कॉन्सेप्ट होगा। उसके अंदर आपको concept, I would suggest all of you to come prepared with the concepts and then you should practice the questions during the session. Asta, आपका question में the question which you have asked, I'm seeing the relevant provision and then I will let you know. You're saying 5C deemed as, but they are not in the point which you are mentioning, Asta, they are not considered as employee. They are not employee. Had they been employee, then that clause 1 will apply. But generally, these persons are ex officios. They are not employees per se. Okay. So with this, we come to an end of the session. You can provide your feedback for the session so that it can help us to know that whether this method of revision by taking the questions, tricky points in the questions helps you in revising for the examination, preparing for the examination. Please let us know through your feedback for the session. And with this, we come to an end of this session. Okay, Soumya is saying this session was an eye-opening session as to how to apply the provisions appropriately. Thank you, Soumya. because yeah, I had taken efforts to explain you all the concepts because I wanted that whatever tricky points were there in the questions you should know that. Simple provisions पढ़ के हमें हमेशा लगता है कि preparation हो गई है, अब exam के लिए prepared है. In sessions में जब questions आएंगे, that will actually be an eye opener, and that is why we have adopted this approach of giving the questions. आपको नेक्स्ट सेशन के लिए आई विल सजेस्ट ऑल ऑफ यू कि आप सब कॉन्सेप्ट को एक बार पढ़ के आना, आप सेशन में ज्यादा अच्छे से समझ पाओगे. ओके, शिफी मोल इज आल्सो सेइंग इट वाज हेल्पफुल टू decode all the catch in the question. Yes, and once you know decode a catch or a tricky point in a question, the satisfaction which you get is unparalleled. और आपको एक कॉन्फिडेंस आता है कि अच्छा इस तरह का क्वेश्चन एग्जाम में भी आएगा तो आई कैन डू, और मुझे ट्रिकी पॉइंट सब समझ आ गए, so I've done in-depth study. That is also a point. So you should focus. Let me see other points. Yes, thank you, Apurva. You find the session useful. And Lalisha, thank you so much, Lalisha. Ishan, Ajay, you have a doubt if business facilitator to a bank in rural area. Rural area will not be taxable because it will not be taxable at all, Ishan. Any service provided by a business facilitator or business correspondent to a banking company in a rural area branch is not taxable at all. बट बिजनेस फैसिलिटेटर के केस में अगर वो टैक्सेबल, अगर अर्बन एरिया में हो रहा है, देन रिवर्स चार्ज विल अप्लाई. तो अर्बन एरिया ब्रांच होनी चाहिए तभी रिवर्स चार्ज लगता है. थैंक यू पूजा. सौम्या, अच्छा, यू हाउ टू मैनेज टाइम इन द एग्जाम. सौम्या, वैसे वी आर गोइंग टू हैव अ सेशन on starting from 15th, 15, 16, 17. We have specially planned these sessions, best is yet to come sessions, where every faculty will give you the tips for the examination, how to manage time in the exam. Today it's already 8:55, but I will give you quickly, I will tell you a few of the tips, but you can watch that session also. There, subject wise examination tips, examination approach, commonly committed errors, they will be dealt with in the class and in those sessions. So you can watch those sessions. But before that, let me see Harshita. Okay, thank you, Harshita. I will let you know that. Don't worry, Soumya. Thank you, Pavan. And anybody has any doubt, they can ask. Otherwise, okay. Priyanshu, you found the session helpful. Thank you. So for managing time in the exam, I always tell the students to manage time right from the time you get the question paper, reading for the reading time, 15 minutes reading time. First of all, efficiently utilize that time. Have a glance at the question paper. In taxation paper, you cannot read the entire question paper. Have a glance. Don't go through the compulsory questions, but because those questions you have to do, MCQs you have to do. So go through the other optional questions first of all and mark that question which you do not have to attempt, because that is the question you know the least. So mark that question and eliminate it. Then identify the question. In both the parts you have to do it. Then identify the question which you will be doing first, because that is the question answer to which is best known to you. Start your paper with that. But in the reading time itself, you have to do another exercise. You have to determine a sequence in which you will be attempting the question paper. 15 minutes is quite a sufficient time to do that. You have to you have to identify the time, approximate time, allocate an estimated time to each question that you will be in that time you will be attempting that question. Once you get the question paper, start with the best answer, and then in the descending order you have to start. Always make it a point, whatever time you have allocated for a particular question. If you are exceeding it too much, you have allocated 10 minutes, now it's already 15 minutes, leave that question then and there itself, and then you have to uh, no, leave that question, leave educate space. You can always come back to that particular question after completing the question paper. And then you have to move to next question, attempt all the questions. Afterwards, you can come back to that question. Always make assumptions wherever you feel that information is not provided in the question, and then keep some time for revision also, because if and see the question, the information which has been asked in the question, that you have to take into consideration. So this way, this is a small tip, but you can watch that session, those sessions also in success at CA exam also. We'll deal with that. Thank you, Sunil. And last is Ishan. And if a person exceeds, okay, this was the first question you asked, exceeded 40 lakhs or but does not exceed 150 lakhs. Would you like to see if it has exceeded 40 lakhs, but it has not exceeded 150 lakhs, it can pay for compositions. It can opt for composition scheme till the time its turnover does not exceed 150 lakhs. That option is there. Okay, Ishan, I hope that answers your doubt. Thank you, Soumya. With this, we come to an end of this session. Thank you for watching this session, and I request all of you to provide the feedback that will help us in keeping our sessions this way. Thank you so much. Oh, okay. Good night, everyone. Bye.